Let me stop. I don't even know how Lauren made it in here. It's a lot of we don't have no space for nobody. There's no, you can't even rent a place in LA. The housing market out here sucks. What up, Asia? Asia Graham is in the house, you guys. We are simulcasting on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Welcome to another episode of High Value Shan, where not only is Shan a high value man, so is the content. Good to be back, man. Feels a little weird to be back. 2/3 stacks for a studio. That's my guy Edwin. And I did a new setup. Y'all like the new setup? See, before I was in my dining room. Okay, so I got 4 podcast studios. I know I'm overkill. I get it. My primary and main podcast studio is downtown LA at my fashion studio. I have an office down there. And in the front foyer in the conference room is a podcast studio. I have lights, cameras. I have cameras, built-in cameras. Like all you do is just flip 3 switches and the whole system is fired up, right? That's there, but I never go there. I'm always working from home. Then I have a podcast studio in my backyard. So I have a bungalow on the right-hand side. And that is a nice, I think it's maybe 15 by 15 foot, pure white studio. Lighting, actually the ceiling is black. The walls are pure white, floors pure white, right? Lights and everything is set up over there. Then I have my dining room, which is what you guys normally see me on. And then I got like partial of my living room. So I'm switching things up. I'm trying to figure out, oh, Marco, Marco, that was you, Asia. I just got your text message, bro. So, okay, Marco, you always hiding yourself. I know. I can't tell everybody what you do and who you are, but thanks for being here, bro. And so the most comfortable is in my house, even though I've spent money on the professional podcast studios. I seem to like it here. So I switched this around. Somebody asked me last night, is this real? This is a bicycle. It's an electric off-road. It's a serious bike. It's not the average bike. You got to order this and wait for it and get on the waiting list and all that. But this is just a different angle, and I like this angle. So this is the second time. Last night I was on the Lapeef network on King Talk, and this is when I tried it out. And people were, I went through the comments after the show, and people was like, Shannon's in 4K. Shannon's in what kind of camera setup does Shan have and all of that. So apparently it's a decent looking setup. So we'll give this a shot and see how this goes. But it's good to be back. The reason why I've been gone is because I've been working on an ADU. So I've been doing a lot of construction. I'm a builder. I like to work with my hands, even when you don't have to. See, that's another thing I teach. I try to teach young men that if you can, even when you don't have to, learn to build things, tear things apart. My parents told me that when I was a kid, I used to tear everything apart. My sister, in fact, told me one time I took the iron apart because I didn't understand why it got hot. So here, imagine a 5-year-old boy grabbing a screwdriver and taking apart the family iron, to iron your clothes, because I didn't understand how the iron got hot. And I needed to open it up and look inside and see what it was that was making that work. That's how I am. And that's what I expect most young men to do. But if you talk to young men today, they don't know how to do shit. Ask a millennial, can he change a tire? Ask a young man, does he even know how to check the oil? And if the car's supposed to be running or if the car's supposed to be off when you check the oil versus the transmission fluid. Or they just like, man, I don't know nothing about that. I'm not doing none of that shit. So it's important that you learn how to work with your hands. And that's what I try to instill in the young guys that I mentor, that even when you don't have to learn how to do something, do it anyway. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 2 months. I took a break from the podcast and I've been working on an ADU, building a really nice place for somebody to stay in, fully furnished, washer dryer in the unit, central AC and heat, brand new walls, brand new carpet, new bed, new 50-inch flat screen TV. It's really laid out, right? It's kind of dope. It's smart room, cameras built in so you can watch the security of the perimeter. It's really dope. But we finished that up. And so now I'm back to the podcast. And today I'm back. So I'm a little nervous, Lauren says the setup looks good. I appreciate Lauren. Lauren is make sure you guys subscribe to Lauren and E Black. My guy E Black is in here. So the Dana's here. Hey Dana. Okay, I'll check your email later, Dana. So Dana, the real Dana, she has Judge Joe Brown on her show. Have to be like 3 times a week. I'll be tapping in and watching that show. So she gets Judge Joe Brown on live. So make sure you subscribe to her. They have really good topics over there. Subscribe to Lauren Melissa in her podcast. She just broke over 1,000 subscribers, but we need to get her watch hours up. So I want you guys to tap into Lauren's podcast and check out my boy E Black. He has a really cool podcast. He's getting ready to get things spinning. In fact, I think he wants me to come on, and then if he wants me to come on, we can. In fact, we might do it today. I got to talk to him after this podcast. We'll see how it goes. But I'm a little nervous because I haven't been here. First of all, I haven't been really podcasting much to begin with, and then just stop, and then now I'm back. It's a little weird, but it's all good. And so here's a topic that I wanted to discuss a while back, and it is about high value. A lot of people say, Shan, what is up with the title of this particular segment, the high value Shan? Of course, it's a spinoff from what Kevin Samuels has done, but I believe that my content is valuable. I believe that the things that I tell people and I teach people and a lot of the information I give is valuable. And the original name of this segment was called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen. that was the original segment name of this whole podcast. It was called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen because I've been saying that for 20 years. And if I believe that if people would just listen more and talk less, that they would gain a lot of, more advantages in life. But so many people like to talk so much and don't listen. I wanted to just make a podcast called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen and talk about it that way. But the algorithm, and I found out that was bad for business. It wasn't going to be too many advertisers that want to throw an ad up on a podcast called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen. So I had to change it, and I switched it over to high value Shan because I believe that the content I'm giving people is high value. But in that vein, we're going to talk about high value men. That's a buzzword that's been going on a long time. Well, not a long time, short time, but it's an old school term, high value men. And, oh, hey, Courtney. Oh, see, Courtney, that's my girl. I love you, Courtney. Courtney has a dope podcast, too. So everybody that I tell you have a dope podcast, please go subscribe to them. Courtney's is on YouTube. She has like 8,000 followers and growing fast. And she's going to be dropping content all the time. So check into her, too. And I haven't seen you in a long time, Courtney. I miss you. You know I love you so much. We're partners, by the way. If y'all didn't know, me and Courtney, she's a fashion designer. I'm a fashion designer, and we have a brand together. But we're going to release that for 2022. We'll get back to that later. But high value man. A lot of people have been talking about that term high value man. I wonder how many of you guys that's watching this chat, that's watching this stream, even like the term high value man. Do you even align with the term high value man? Oftentimes I'm in Clubhouse, for those that's in Clubhouse, and I get on the stages and people come up and they hate. It's usually people that don't like Kevin Samuels, but they hate the term high value man, and then they redefine it to what they want. And I want people to know that I think they're convoluting the term high value man with high quality man. I firmly believe there's a difference between high value and high quality. And today we're going to discuss that. And if you guys have a difference of opinion, I want you to cam up and show up and we can talk about it today. What does she say? Big Bad Bull is in the house. The Naked Truth by all these dope people. So I feel a little weird because podcasts that I follow are showing up in my shit. Like, like I said, E Black and Lauren Melissa. These are people that I follow and I kind of like admire them. So I feel a little weird coming back on my first day and these people are showing up over here in mine. Courtney Ketchum, I follow her podcast and it's weird to have her over in mine. So that's really dope. But let's talk about it. So high value man. Now, Kevin Samuels, he put the framework around the term high value man. And now people are attempting to redefine what high value man is. But the term is very specific. Kevin put the framework around it. But the term has been around since I remember first hearing it when I was in the military and I got out the Army in 1994. So I heard it sometime in the early 90s, right? When I was a young man, I was around 22, 23. I heard the term high value man way back then. There's been books written about it, but Kevin has made it popular. And so this show is called High Value SHAN. You know, it's a spin on words because I believe the content is valuable. But let's talk about the difference between valuable and quality. All right, so let me use an analogy so that you guys can see it a little differently. Let's use, okay, I'm looking at my car outside. I wish I could turn the camera on. I'm looking at one of my cars outside. So, has everybody heard of a 64 Chevy Impala? The one that gangster rap has made popular, the one that the hydraulics and what we ride out here in Los Angeles. 64 Chevy. In 1964, Chevrolet created the Impala, or had a car. They created it before that, but there was a 64 Chevy Impala. If you were to purchase a Chevy Impala today from 1964, you would not be able to purchase a convertible, especially. You would not be able to purchase a 1964 convertible Chevy Impala for less than $50,000. You can't buy one for less than 50 grand. I don't care where you get it. A lot of them are over in Japan. I remember back in the day when we was rolling lowriders, a lot of Japanese people would come over here and buy them. They take them to the dock, ship them over to Japan because they really were infatuated with the whole lowrider culture. So it's really hard to find a 64 Chevy in America as it is. Los Angeles, you can forget about it. So if you did find one, you got to go to the Midwest or down south to get one. But it's hard to find one. But even if you did find one, you're not finding a hardtop for less than $25,000, and you're not finding a convertible for less than 50 grand. That car is valuable. Why is that car valuable? Now, here's the thing. A newer Chevy Impala. They still make Chevy Impalas, I think, or at least they did for a while back. Let's say a 2015 Chevy Impala. Is that car valuable? The answer is no. You can buy a fucking Chevy Impala, like a 5-year-old, 10-year-old Chevy Impala for nothing, for peanuts. You get one for like $3 grand, maybe $4 grand. Why is it that a 1964 Chevy Impala is 50 grand? And one that's only 5 years old is only $5 grand. Why is there a $45,000 difference here? Now the question is, which one is more has more quality than the other? Which one will you die in if you get into an accident at 50 miles an hour? Which one has seat belts that protect you? Which one has more comfortable seating? Which one has air conditioning and heat that actually works? Which one has an airbag in the event that you get into an accident? Which one has automatic, anti-lock braking systems? A 1964 Chevy Impala has none of that. It has no airbags. It has shitty braking system. It's a rough ride. It's not a comfortable ride. And if you get into an accident in one, you're probably going to die. That's not very high quality, but it's still more valuable than the newer Chevy Impala. And so when people talk about high value men, it has nothing to do with the things that people oftentimes think value encompasses. Value and quality is two different things. So you hear people say, oh, there has to be a nice person and they have to love their family and it's all about their person. Now, no, it has nothing to do with that. High value man can be essentially an asshole. A high value man doesn't have to have all the amenities that a high quality person has. But a lot of people want to associate the quality side with the value side, and that's not generally how it works. It has nothing to do with personality. And therein lies why people get it mixed up. You know, it's like people that say beauty is only skin deep. They probably don't look too good, or do they? Or money can't buy happiness. Who says money can't buy happiness? Who believes that? Who believes that money can't buy happiness? Because most people that said that, whoever created that cliche, is probably broke as a motherfucker. Money, I'm happy with money. I'm smiling ear to ear when it comes to money versus not having any. There's a such thing as pretty privilege. And so when it comes to value, the 6 tenets that was created, that Kevin Samuels created, we're going to, you know what, let's pull it up. Let's talk about it. He popularized it. So we're going to talk about it real quick. Now, here's the thing. High value man. This book here, How to Be a High Value Man, The Blueprint to Success with Women. That's a book that was published January 2020, before most of you guys ever even heard of Kevin Samuels. But everybody wants to associate the term high value man to Kevin Samuels. Again, it's because Kevin put the framework around it. There's another book called, let me see if I can pull that up. The High Value Man, Principles of Positive Masculinity. That book was published in 2016. How many of you guys ever heard of Kevin Samuels in 2016? Kevin did not create the term high value man. He didn't make the term. This book here, The High Value Man, Principles of Positive. In fact, me and Lou, I would gather that that's an Asian guy that explains the value of being a high value man. This is a book that was published, almost 2016. So we're talking about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. Written certainly 6 years ago. Nobody ever heard of Kevin Samuels until he became popular last year during the pandemic. Oh, people did, but he didn't become super popular like he is now. So Kevin did not create the term high value man. So all those people that are upset with the term high value man, that's associating money with it, that's not the case. So what Kevin did was he created the framework around it. And so let's look at it. Now, what Kevin says is that in order to be a high value man, not quality, high value man, you have to have 6 things. You cannot miss one. You can't have 5 and not 6. You can't be heavy on 3 and be missing the other 3. You have to have all 6. And we could talk about it. So a man's ability to earn at least $10,000 a month, period, coast to coast, anywhere in America, you have to earn $10,000. That's not $100,000 a year. That is $120,000 a year. And the price is adjusted depending on where you live. If you're here in Los Angeles, you got to make more than that. $10,000 a month is no matter where you live. It doesn't matter what state you live in, what county you live in, what city you live in America. You have to make $10,000 a month. That's the baseline of being a high value man. If you don't have that, you're not a high value man. The next point is you must be earning this $10,000 for a minimum of 3 years. So what that means is in 2020, there's a lot of people that made a lot of money. You got some people that sold masks and made a bunch of money. You got a lot of people that sold hand sanitizer and created their own hand sanitizer, bottled it up and started selling it, made a bunch of money. But that doesn't make that person necessarily high value. Now, if it's a guy, doesn't make that man. And make no mistake, high value women is a completely different criteria. And we can talk about that later. But high value men, if you made your money last year, bro, you got 2 more years to keep doing it. You can't have just came up and that's why it's hard to really put it on athletes and entertainers. You can't really say that athletes and entertainers that just came across a windfall of bread or somebody who hit the lottery is considered high value, because really they got lucky, to be honest with you. It has nothing to do with them per se. And that's why it's required that you have to be earning $10,000 a month for 3 years minimum. After that, you have to have an acceptance from a group of other high value men. What does that mean? Uh-oh. Is that Lucky? Oh my God. Lucky's here. Goodness gracious. Hey, Lucky. So let me finish these points and then we're gonna open the lines up. So acceptance from a group of other high value men. So what that means is high value men is like a fraternity. Like I'm a Nupe, right? Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Spring 97, EK, Long Beach State. My fraternity, my fraternity is synonymous to sorta like a high value man fraternity. You can't be high value if other men who are high value don't recognize that. You can't just wake up one day and just be high value all by yourself. It has to be other people that recognize you that's part of the group. Fellas, you can't just wake up one day and go to the mall and buy some fly clothes, pick up some jewelry, rent you a car, and then just claim it. Other people, other men have to have known who you are prior to you be actually considered a high value man. And as number 4 dictates, access to a network of other high value men. So not only do these brothers know who you are, you have to have access to them. There's a difference between being known and people and you knowing them. It's a difference between people knowing you, but you knowing them. And so oftentimes, like say, for instance, you're a doctor or you're an attorney. A doctor may get into some trouble. He knows he could just pick up his phone and call a couple of his high value attorneys and utilize their services. Or maybe that high value attorney or that doctor is getting ready to do a seminar and he can call up his tailor, his high value tailor, his fashion designer, and have a suit put together for him in a week because something's coming up that's really fast and he has to fly out of the country. Or maybe that high value a doctor needs his Maserati fixed because the transmission is acting up. So he calls his buddy that owns an entire a foreign car automotive shop with an employee staff of 7 mechanics. And he can get that car fixed. And their friend, he knows the owner, not one of the mechanics, but he knows the owner of the entire car shop. That car shop does maybe $6 million a year in services and repairs. You have to have access to other high value men. You can't just be known by people, but you don't know them. It doesn't work that way. And accepted, the other one is an accepted prominent position by society. So what that means is that you can't just claim it and nobody can find out who you are. Like for me, you could Google my name. You can go to Google and you can type in Shannon Rawls and the whole first page is all about me. Dates way back to when I was a film producer here in Hollywood. Talks on my offices and things that I've done. Has a little bit of few of my biographies. I think Kevin calls it LinkedIn level. Basically, people that are on LinkedIn are establishing who and what they do. And then they have a network connection of other people who can verify that. You have to be verifiable that you do what you do. You can't just slide into the group with a bunch of other high value men, finagle your way around it, and then nobody can verify what you do. They need to be able to see what you do. And so that's what it means when you're accepted prominent position by society. Society has to be able to see exactly what you do. You can't just claim it and say that that's what you are. You know what I'm saying? I know some people who say, man, I'm just an executive producer. What does that mean? You're an executive producer. I'm a CEO of my brand. What does your brand do? What service or product do you offer the world? And where can I find that? Can I Google that? Can I look that up? What store can I go get your product at? Are you on Yelp? Can I give a review to what you do on Yelp? Where's your office? A lot of people claim to be entrepreneurs, never had an office. Every meeting is at Starbucks. They're going to Starbucks you to death. You have to be clearly verifiable by society to be high value. And the last one is the ability to be used by others. So now remember when I said that not only do other high fellas, and this is for you, other high value men need to be able to see you and know who you are. You need to know them and be able to use them, but they also must be able to use you. You can't get something for nothing. You have to have what effectively is it's in the book Think and Grow Rich. Help me out. Chapter 9. It escapes my mind. It's more like a think tank. It's like a think tank. It's like a power group. You have to be part of a group that can use you and your services or talent or whatever you are offering to the world, to the other high value men. You cannot just have money. It is not about just having bread, you guys. You cannot just be rich and call yourself a high value man. It doesn't work that way. You cannot just be rich last year and was broke most of your life. You have to be able to continuously and consistently make that money. You have to be known by others. You have to know them. You have to be seen and recognized by society, and you have to be able to be utilized to the group of other high value men around you. All of those make up the term high value man. So I don't know why so many people want to put their feelings in it. Do you realize that there's a lot of people out there who knock every one of those points and are straight assholes? A lot of people, some people would say I'm one. I've been called my fair share of an asshole, especially in business, because I'm a shrewd businessman. I've grown to be a shrewd businessman. Some people would call me an asshole, but I don't care about your feelings when it comes to making money. I'm not concerned about feelings when it comes to protecting my family. I care about my employees and I care about all the people around me. So some would call me an asshole. Doesn't make me any less valuable. Just like there's no airbags in a 1964 Chevy Impala, doesn't make that car any less valuable. In fact, it's more valuable than one that has airbags. It's more valuable, even though it's less safer than a newer version of the same car. That's just the way that works. So a lot of people that want to put in, value. I'm a high value man, but a high value man is not what Kevin says. A high value man is a person that loves his wife and is caring, and no, it ain't got nothing to do with it. That, my friends, is high quality. Now, quality touches on all those additional things, and you can be a high quality man and not a high value man. There's millions and millions of high quality brothers out there, ladies. There's millions and millions of high quality men. And so that's why oftentimes when I ask women, what are you looking for? Or even when Kevin asks women on his show, what are you looking for? When they start talking about how much money he makes or the lifestyle that they want to live, he says, why? Like, why is that important? Why is having a high value man important? It seems oftentimes that women want to put the value of a man, a high value man, above the importance of a high quality man. You can have a high quality brother that makes the average salary, takes care of his neighborhood and is crucial to his family and works an honest job. He may not make $10,000 a month every month for 3 years minimum. Maybe he makes just enough to have a comfortable life, enough to take care of you, your children. He could be a high quality man and not necessarily a high value man, but it seems that women always want a high value man. Why is that so important that you want somebody to be high value? Is it because of the money that you make or the lifestyle you want to live? High value man has a specific definition, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's important that I had to get that out there today. I wanted to talk about that. Uh-oh, what y'all in here? And I ain't even looking at the chat. Y'all should pull up. So let's talk about it. Let's open up the chat. I wish I had one of those screens that, I could play somebody dancing, play a hot chick dancing, moving around, and be like, all right, let's pull it up. In fact, I think I'm going to add that. I'm going to add a video right here so we can talk about it. I want y'all to cam up. Go ahead and click the link and pull up. Let's talk about it. If you feel that you have a different definition of what a high value man is versus a high quality man, or ladies, if you think that you want a high value man and a high quality man, or you don't even care about high value man, you just want a quality guy, let's talk about it and pull up. I know that, what y'all in there? Let's see. Let me scroll up. What up, Big Von? Uh-oh. I see what y'all talking about. Y'all in here arguing. Ian Wilson says you get quality and value with a 6.4 Chevy. You don't get no quality with it. I owned a 6.4 Chevy with 10-inch strokes. Ain't nothing quality about that car. You know how I always was working on that car, EM. Ain't nothing quality about no 6.4 Chevy. It's valuable, but it ain't it's nothing quality about that car. Nothing at all. So, where's she at? What's that? Lucky, you know what? Lucky, pull up. Lucky and Lauren and Dana and E Black. Why don't y'all pull up for me? I want to talk to y'all. I got to get used to this. Do I think that both quality are rare to find in a man? Are rare? I'm assuming that you meant rare. Do I think that both qualities are rare to find in a man? High value? Yes. Hell yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Is high quality rare to find in a man? The answer is no. No, there's a lot of quality men out here. And that's one of the arguments. That's one of the problems that I'm having, because too many women are passing up quality men looking for a valuable man. Too many women are passing up quality men looking for a valuable man. I don't want you to be so fixated on snagging you a high value man as opposed to snagging you a high quality man. You guys are passing up and shitting on damn near 50% of the population, especially in the black community, because think about it. How many men, no matter what color, race they are, in America earns $10,000 or more per month? We all know the percentage is low. It's around 10%. So now only 10% of the men earn $10,000 or more a month, adjusted for their location. The black community, 8%. So you got 92% of men who are 92% of black men are not considered high value men. 92% of black men are not considered high value men as defined by the 6 points that Kevin laid out. However, how many men or how many women are out there looking for those men, are competing for those men? And we got to start. And then even then, with the 8% of black men that are high value men, half of them are married. Half of them are married. We won't talk about going through divorce and the 60% divorce rate. So we'll say 50% of them are married. Now you got to find how many of them are straight and heterosexual and are even interested in a woman. Then you got to find, it's all these different things. You guys are getting down to the last 2% of men. 98% of men is not considered high value men in the black community. Only 2% are. Yet so many women want that. But how many women should be paying attention to high quality men? You got a high quality man next door. If you live in an apartment building, you got high quality man upstairs or downstairs. Those guys that you guys keep ignoring, the ones that you guys are throwing in the friend zone, those are high quality men. Those guys that you guys are throwing in the friend zone are high quality men. But you keep them in the friend zone. The guy that you keep stringing along is quality and could probably improve your life if you gave him a chance, but you won't give him a chance. You won't give him an opportunity. Uh-oh, Dana's up. Let me pull up Dana real quick. Hold on, Dana. I got to get this stuff under control. And then Lauren is here. I got everybody pulling up. So hold on. Let's see. 3 of us. $100. Hey, Lauren. Give me a mic check.
Hello, how are you?
There you go. Hey, Dana, you there?
You hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Welcome.
Okay. I like Ecamm. I got to, you know what? I think I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
switch to Ecamm.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
Yeah.
It's sexy though,
I
right? It's a sexy look,
it
but it's
is, but
complicated.
I see Kevin uses Ecamm,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the way
Me,
but
me, Kevin, Anton use Ecamm. I think we're the only three that use it.
okay. So
Maybe,
as
maybe,
far
maybe Coach Greg Adams, but I'm not sure. But I know me, Kevin, and Anton we use Ecamm. Everybody else is straight StreamYard, and
yeah,
which
I
is
use
cool. It's just that StreamYard doesn't
Zoom.
give you all these options and stuff.
Is
Let me
there a
put some
delay on
respect
my
in your
end or
name.
no?
It might be a slight delay. So I'm curious, Dana. Have you always aligned with the term high value man or no? Can you hear me?
No, I'm muting myself. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I was asking you that. So I get into discussions oftentimes where women do not like the term high value man, and I tend to think that the people that don't like high value, well, you know what? I hold my thoughts on that. How do you feel about the term high value man?
I don't have a problem with it, but I think, just like everything else, like people just overuse it. Um, and they put too much emphasis on it. And I do like the fact that you are asking the question, what's the difference between high value and high quality? Because people do mix in the two. And I think for me, high value is more so what a person have as opposed to who they are. So
Well, what do you
if
mean? What do you mean? What they have?
because I look at it, you could and I may have to switch to my microphone, but I look at
No, you
it
clear.
so people think that if you don't make six figures, say if you're a plumber and you make 65 a year, you have good credit. I look at it, you know, how much are you worth? Because the overall, it's not just your salary, it's the overall. And if you're not worth anything as far as assets, retirements, 401k investments, you don't have to make six figures. You can make six figures and not have none of that. You could make 60K and be worth $500,000. So to me, high value is just how much are you worth overall, as in tangibles, and high quality is who you are, because like you were saying, there are a lot of high value men who are assholes. um so, and then you could be high value and be a nice person. You could not make six figures, you could make 60K, the medium income, and be an asshole or be a nice person. So again, I just think, just to sum it up, high value is what someone has, tangibles, and high quality is who you are.
Is it important that they have created that they have earned their tangibles on their own? Because what if they just was given that money? What if they were just given all those assets? What if they what if they got it?
Even though by like
In a
family.
yeah. What if they what if it was what if they inherited most of their wealth, like houses and their money markets and all that kind of stuff because their father died? Are they suddenly high value now?
Yes, because um, aside from Black people, when you look at other groups of people, they come from some type of generational wealth, or some type of generational of value, as far as real estate or trust funds. And when you look at our socioeconomic standpoint, we don't have those things, generalizing it. So, but a lot of times, if you're born into a high value family, as far as, income or money, you are taught how to maintain it. But if I were to inherit my trust fund or real estate or whatever, and I just blow it away, I'm not high value. It's because, as far as assets, and I'm probably not even high quality of a person because, I'm immature, not knowing how to sustain that and grow. But a lot of times when you're born into that type of family or that type of lifestyle, you're taught how to maintain your high valueness, as far as income, assets, money in general, so
Got it.
yeah.
Lauren, I see you over there nodding your head in agreement to a lot of stuff that she's saying.
Yeah. So it was. I'm glad that you brought this topic up because you're right. Of course. Sorry, someone's calling. I'm glad that you brought this topic up because a lot of people do confuse high value with high quality. My preference is high quality. One, because there's not too many quality men left. To her point, you can come into money. You can, you can get money. High value, in my opinion, when you were going through the different qualities, it had everything to do with like external validation, right? How much you make, how people view you, your status, all of these different things, right? But then for high quality, I think that's more introspective, like your character, your integrity, your personality, how you treat others, like all of those things. And so I can understand why during Kevin Samuels' conversation and when he's trying to get women to wake up and change so that they can get the end result of being married, yeah, you do have to highlight high value men because time is ticking. You're running out of time. You're going to have to make up for lost time. So yeah, you probably want to get you a high value man because a high quality man is not probably going to, you can be both, but it's like to your point, if you are high value, you're probably an asshole or you have like asshole qualities. But I definitely think like a high quality man can definitely become a high value man, but I don't know that they can, I don't know that a high value man will be like a high quality man. Like I don't know.
They're rare,
right? Like,
well, can you be both? Can you be valuable and quality at the same time? Can a guy be super nice? Well, yeah, but they're probably married, right? That's the dilemma. So like us men, we out there, we talk about how it's so few women out there that who's what we're looking for, and is, like as I call the 5 Fs: the fit, feminine, friendly, faithful, and fun. Right? How many women are fit, feminine, friendly, faithful, and fun? It's not that many out there. But then at the same time, like you speak, how many men are out there high value and high quality? How many out there are both? The thing, I guess my question is, and this is to you and Dana, how you both said quality is more important than value, but is value a deal breaker for you? Because maybe it's that's the reason why women like you don't cam up with Kevin and go on his show, and it's certain because it seems to be 90% of the women that jumps on his show to be honest with you, it's like 90% of the women that I've polled, when you ask them what they want, it always seems to lean back to the value side. They never talk about the quality side, and maybe they assume that it goes. Maybe it goes without saying. Maybe I'm supposed to assume that you already want quality, and now you're talking about the details. But and that's another thing. When you ask a woman, are you willing to date a man that makes less money than you? Let's skip past. Let's see. Look at you, Lauren. I caught that nod. So it's already one thing for women who want a man that makes $100,000 or more, right? There was a room on Clubhouse this morning that $300,000 is what women is looking for now. That's the new gold standard. It's like, yo. Anyways, so if most women don't want to work or take care of the significant bills after they have their first child, and they would prefer to marry a guy or be with a man that makes over $100,000 a year, why is it how is it just coincidence that that's what most women are looking for? And if you don't want to go that far, why is it that women won't even date somebody who makes, or even marry somebody who makes less money than them? Lauren, because you said you wouldn't do it. And
Well,
Dana probably
yeah,
won't either.
I've talked about my preferences on Anton's show before, all of that, and I'm sure I'll get into it on my channel as well. Um, Trish, that's funny. Hey, I'm coming, I swear. Okay, so back to the conversation. I think that to answer your first question, like, is it a preference or a deal breaker for me? It's not a deal breaker. It's just a preference that they have to make a certain amount. And the reason why I say it's not a deal breaker is because I know I add value. So if I get into a relationship or whatever, he's not going to be comfortable to just be like, I'm content making 50K. He's probably going to want to make more so that he can give me what I deserve.
What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? So you women, y'all women get in here and you.
No, there will be conversations that's had. If he has no desire to move up the ladder, whatever, if he's in corporate, whatever, if he has no other career desires and he's content being at whatever salary, we're probably not going to work, right? Because
then it's a deal breaker.
It's not.
You can't say it's not a deal breaker, then turn around and say, "But I won't marry a man who's content with 50 grand," because he might be an assistant manager at Target. He might be an assistant manager at Target, and he just loves his job. He loves putting on his khaki pants and his red polo shirt and walking around with his walkie-talkie, and he wants to retire at Target. And he doesn't want to become the manager, and he doesn't want to become a regional, and he doesn't want to do any of that. He's fine with his 50K. It's enough to buy. But you're saying, oh no, and women, you guys get into this. You guys have this thing about, I'm going to create my man. I'm going to get a guy, and when he gets with me, he's going to make, because I'm going to push him.
No. Shan, no. What I'm saying is, there is a such thing as it being a mismatch. Like, we can get along great, but in a relationship, it's just not going to work. You can't have an ambitious woman, a woman that desires to be like they accomplish one goal, they're on to the next one, and then be with a man that's stagnant. No matter how good the D is, no matter how great he is, his personality, we're not going to work. It's not a deal breaker. I'm not saying he's a terrible person. He doesn't deserve to be.
You playing with words, Lauren?
I'm not a deal breaker.
Can I say something to that? Because.
Well, before you say something to that, does a man have to make a certain amount of money? Does a man have to make more money than you, Dana? Does your husband?
I prefer he does. Me personally, and I think that's just a personal preference. Some women don't care. But the question, women don't? Okay, go ahead, love. But the question is, I would ask that man that works in Target and he's fine being an assistant manager and he makes 50K. A lot of times those type of men, they have something else going on outside of Target. They are investing in their 401k.
What if he doesn't?
Real estate. They own their
I'm
own
giving
home.
You hypotheticals. I'm giving you you saying sometimes, well, there's sometimes those guys are gonna win the lottery. I want by and large. By and large, those assistant managers don't have a money, a whole lot of Bitcoin, don't have a whole lot of property, don't because I was an assistant manager at Sears, and I used to go to the meetings, and everybody in the room didn't have all that stuff. I was the richest dude in the room.
Sears, honey.
So
Sears went out of business before Bitcoin even existed. Stop playing with me.
Actually, it didn't. But I hear what you're saying. The point is,
but this is the point that I'm trying to make. Because when I talk about that 60K plumber, I know men who make under six figures. The average, let's say between 50 and 60K, they're homeowners. They probably have some of them do have their side business, side. They already invested in their pension. They have their 401k. So they're not going to give that up. I'll add some more money what I'm doing on the side here, which probably could bring in 20,000 a year or whatever. But they are managing their money and optimizing their assets. See, it's a difference from, a lot of times I really don't look at how much a man make. And a lot of times men who make six figures or high six figures, you don't know how much they make. A man with common sense is not going to tell you that. So you can't assume something because men who floss like they have it really don't have it. I want to look at your whole portfolio. How much are you worth completely. That's what I'm interested in. I don't care if you make six figures. That doesn't impress me.
But you have an issue. So what you? I'm giving you and it's anecdotal, but I'm telling you, most assistant managers at Target, most assistant managers at Walmart don't have this fancy portfolio with a property behind them. Most of them are living check to check. And I'm talking about the ones that are, and most of them aren't content being there either. Most of them want to move up. Most of them, but there's often times, and I used to. So when I was at Sears, and this is 10 years ago, there was cashiers that was there for 20 years. It blew my mind. Now, when I got to Sears, I became assistant manager in 9 months because I only went there because Obama had just this is 2008, 2009. The economy crashed. Bush got out of office. Obama took over the office. The housing market was falling apart. Everything was going crazy. I had to stop making movies. I had a whole studio at Sunset Gower. I had to let go of my interns. I had to let go of my employees. I had to sell off half my equipment. I had just went through my first divorce. I had to regroup. And I needed to go do something so I wouldn't lose one of my houses. And so I went to go work at Sears. But when I got there, it was like, yo, this is a piece of cake. Like working here is a piece of cake. So I ended up I jumped straight into high sales, and then I became full. I was supposed to become full-time in a year. I became full-time in 3 months. And the next thing you know, 6 months after that, I was this damn assistant store manager. Everybody, I pissed off a lot of people because I moved faster than people that was there for 10 years. But that's just my story. And that's because I'm a hustler and I just use it.
Well,
I use Sears for what I needed.
Were they married, or did they have a significant other?
Most of them didn't. Retail is full. Yeah, most of them are women. And retail is full of single people.
Right, majority were women. 90%, let's say, is women.
Well, I wouldn't say 90% because we had home. It depends on what department you were in. Like in my men's department, I had all men. In my footwear department, I had predominantly men. In my home appliances and in my home improvement department was men.
So
I had men.
Would be, are there women who would date a non-ambitious man, basically?
No.
But is he not? But why? So why must we equate making more money with ambition?
They've been there for 20 years.
Well, I'm talking about the cashiers, and it was generally women that were like that. But it was like Miss, old Miss such and such. She's been here for 18 years, and I'd be like, weird. She's been working that cash wrap for 18 years.
You're proving my point in that, guys typically aren't going to work at a department store for 20 years. It's going to be women, right? So men, if you do start off at a department store, you're not going to be content. Whether your motivation to get out of that is a family, it's a woman, it's you want to buy a house, you want to move, like there's going to be different motivation. If I ever run into a man that has no desire to get out of, because there's always room for growth, right? It's only up from here is what everybody says, right? So if a person is content, even the CEO of a Fortune 500 company ain't gonna be there forever. They're probably gonna go to be a CEO at a different Fortune 500 company, right? There's always room to grow. So again, if I get with a man that has no desire to get out of his 50K or 60K or whatever, we're just probably not going to work. Because aside from salary,
why won't you call that a deal breaker? Because what if there's a lot of UPS truck drivers who are happy driving their UPS trucks. There's a lot of mailmen. There's a lot of mail carriers that deliver mail to your house every day, who's totally happy.
Don't make change. They make good money. UPS drivers.
Right. But the reason why I'm saying it's not a deal breaker is because deal breaker means that there's no chance, there's no wiggle room. I'm not giving you an opportunity to make a decision. I'm not giving you an opportunity to increase or do whatever, right? But by me saying that's a deal breaker, by me saying it's a preference means, okay, like I'll give it a shot, or it can be there, or it doesn't have to be. We can see what it's about. So that's why I'm like, it's not necessarily a deal breaker for me, because by me saying, oh, let me see your pay stub or tell me how much you make, peace out, that's not enough. No, like that's not realistic, especially at the shortage of single, high quality, high value men out here. If I were to say, yeah, I only want this person to make this much, like I'm gonna be single forever. Like, let's be clear. especially if Kevin Samuels out here saying high value men have options. And I'm me personally, looking for somebody that's high quality first and foremost, because typically if you're high quality, you have integrity, you're less likely to want to step out because you value the family structure, you value marriage. Like, a high quality man has values. Not to say that a high value man doesn't, but a high value man would do whatever it takes to get to the next level, to do it, to keep the high value status. And they don't really care who they hurt. They just want what they want. And I'm not throwing trash on a high value man. There's definitely, I hate to keep using the word value, but there's definitely value to both a high value man and a high quality man, in my opinion. So not to say that I don't want a high value man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that between the two, if I were to rank it, high quality would be the first thing I look for, and then if you're high value, that's the icing on the cake. That's the cherry on top.
Got it. But let's be clear. You're saying high quality first, high value is great, but if you're gonna be the quality, just make sure your ass is ambitious enough to make more to become a high value man one day. So
at the end of the day, I think every woman either wants to maintain their lifestyle or, walk into a better lifestyle than they're in currently, right? So for me, if this man is unable to maintain the lifestyle that I currently have, I don't know if that's gonna, if we're gonna be able to rock, right?
Well, see, that therein lies, and that's where I was asking Dana, are you interested, or could you date somebody, or even, and we're talking just dating. We haven't even discussed marriage yet, right? Because that's going to be, specific to the individual. So let's just talk about dating, somebody that you have your eyes for. Could he make less money than you? The answer is, well, first when Dana was like, no, and then Lauren, you were kind of like saying you agree with that. Is that, I think you're expounding and saying that that's short term. He could, but he better hurry up and get on the ball. And I'm simply saying, well, what if he doesn't? Most men won't. The reality is most won't do better than that. Most. Now I get where Dana's coming from. Dana's saying, well, look, you don't ever have to make much more than 60 or 70 anyway, as long as you're using the money that you are making to eradicate, poverty out of your lineage, to make sure that you're setting stuff in place. Maybe you end up buying homes and you're using your money, you're leveraging your credit and using your money to make life a lot easier. It's not about how much you actually generate per month. I think that's actually going to end up pushing you above the numbers anyway. But my thing is, if you don't want to call it a deal breaker, but you're still saying that you won't, you're still saying that even if you were to to date somebody who makes less money than you currently, he better get on the ball. Okay, so here's the question for you. What if you find somebody who, because a lot of dudes out here be capping, and they be telling you what they gonna do, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Dana, you know what I'm talking about too. Guys out there telling you what they got going on and what they finna do, and what they getting ready to do, and what they got in works, and what they working on, and they'll send you pictures of things, and they'll tell you about they're in develop. Everybody's always in development on some shit, right? I've been hearing that for forever. When I was in film as a producer, everybody I talked to was always in development on some shit, and I was the only one that already had a script, was throwing money at the projects, and we was already in pre-production, production, post-production, and everybody looked at me like some Superman. And I was like, all y'all niggas is always in development on something. So I know you ladies hear a lot of fellas out there who's telling you what his plans are. He's telling you what his aspirations are. He's telling you what he wants to do, because nobody really wants to settle for 50 grand. I get you. But the reality is most of them ain't gonna make it. What's more important to you, the fact that he has aspirations or that he actually achieves them?
I never dated a man who was on the way up. He was already up. So,
Period.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
okay, wait.
He was already up. So the fact is that he already had, he was already built that way to have, ambition, and he kept having ambition, and it just elevated. But, so I'm coming at it from if I'm coming at it from my own personal experience, it's coming from a place to where I didn't go out saying I'm only doing it. That's just how it is, and that's
It's
who
what you attract, Rilla. Say it.
that's
That's
who
what
I'm
we
attracted.
attract.
Right, and that's where my attraction just flows to, and I don't know what they do. I don't know how much they make, but when I look at my relationships, I mean, when I was younger, it's different. You're in your 20s, and you're dating someone closer to your age. Well, my generation, a lot of dudes have money, other means, but yeah, again, they was already up though. I can't, yeah. So I always dated guys that was already up.
To that point, I get anytime I enter into a conversation about like what would you want salary, and then they throw these hypothetical questions at me. Like, I don't know what it's like to date a man that works at McDonald's.
So y'all never had to build a bear?
Hell no, I can't build a bear. No, honey, because I need building. Like, I know my flaws.
Lucky,
One of my
Lucky,
flaws-
Lucky, pull up. Lucky, get out of the chat and cam up. Stop acting up.
Right.
Go ahead.
One of my flaws is budgeting. So I have to deal with a man, be in a relationship with a man who's great at budgeting, who's great at money, managing money. So, because we both can't be in the same boat. So I always like to seek those men, which makes my life, easier as far as the financial part of the relationship. So that's my flaw. My flaw is I don't like to budget. I have to date a man who knows how to budget. And usually those men are doing well for themselves.
I mean, I don't know. I'm being. Why can't he budget at a $50,000 level?
He can. He can do that.
He can. And I've dated men who made. Well, this was years ago. I don't know how he probably makes more, worth more now, but he's a police officer, so they don't make much money. However, he had his own business, his own side business. He has his own side business, but he knew how to budget. So, and he owned his own home already at the time. So he was great with budgeting and managing his money. So of course, what he made then, I'm pretty sure he's worth more now because of his responsible financial management, money management.
Got it. All right.
So they were already up, or they were already on the way up. I don't do build a bear. Like, you shouldn't even be dating if you trying to make
y'all. You know what? Y'all cold. Both of y'all cold blooded. Because when y'all say that y'all won't date, because I'm just saying, I'm just thinking about all the brothers out there who could potentially be wonderful men for you two ladies, where you guys are saying that you probably won't even look his way because he's on his way. He's what we call a Henry. If you look over here at the screen, what did I have it right here? It was called a Henry, high earner, not rich yet, right? High earner, not rich yet. Now, when you guys are saying that most of the guys that you've dated already got it going on, and it tends to the sentiment that you're putting out there is like, well, you know what? Anybody that's on the way up, I'll catch him when he's up there. Because in the courting or in the meeting process, not the courting process, I'm sorry, in the meeting process, you looking past thousands of potential wonderful guys, high quality guys.
Typically, I'm not saying that I'm like, oh, you look like you don't make this much or whatever. Typically, from my experience, men who maybe aren't where they want to be yet, don't step to me. And some people even say it like, they in the process of them selling their dreams, they'll be like, when I
don't believe that. That's cap.
It's not,
Lauren,
it's not
that's cap. Y'all ladies, you know what you say? You say these guys don't step. No, they step to you. You ignore them. You ignore them. You ignore the signs. They step to you. They step to you at the gas station. When you at the gas station putting gas in your car, when you in line buying groceries, when you are at Starbucks getting a latte, when you are at the mall picking up these guys do step to you ladies. They like on all your pictures. They like on all your pictures on your Instagrams. They say things. They send you the choosing signals. You guys ignore those fellas. And then
No,
you say, "Oh, well, they're not stepping to me." Lauren, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, Dana. They guys are out there. They're checking for both
Can
of
you hear
y'all,
me
but y'all
now?
not checking for them. I can hear you.
this is where you get it
Can
all
you
wrong. So number
you hear
one,
me? Okay. Wait,
so
did you
number
hear me when I
one,
kept asking? Can you hear me?
the first time I couldn't.
I can hear you. You clear
Okay.
now, though, Dana.
Got it.
So
Okay.
hear me out. If you think liking a picture is stepping to me, they'll probably never get to you. Okay, like that's number one. Number two, if you send a DM, I likes you a lot, probably not gonna get a response. One, bad grammar. Two, are we 12? Like there, I mean, come on. I'm not gonna give everybody the time of day. And three, because I have standards, I look at myself in a certain way. I expect certain things. There are certain things I just won't accept. I don't care how many people in my DMs. If you come to me wrong or step to me like I'm some IG model or thinking all I want is the D, you're not gonna get a response. Like
So they
I have
dusty. They like Lucky said. You call these are dusties. So you ignore the
absolutely that
dusties.
absolutely. And so just because I ignore them doesn't mean that I'm capping or I wouldn't give them a chance. Step to me correct. We can have an intellectual conversation. We can talk. But when I'm over the whole games, I'm over the I liked your picture, you like my picture. I went all the way back down to 2016 to like that picture, so you know I'm looking kind of thing. Nah. We grown, we can have a conversation.
So
So
you're
I think
overlooking them.
they're overlooking themselves because they don't know how to have a conversation. Let's not put this on a woman. I'm just stepping up.
Annette, cam up. Annette, you asked if you said you're ready to cam up. Annette, come on up, cause you gotta add some. You probably agree with your girls, cause that sisterhood is tight. But
But Shannon, it sounds like you are assuming that women, or me and her, and women in general, some women are just having a hard time finding a
no,
man
oh no
because
no
they have.
no. See, that's what I'm not assuming. No
So
no.
like
I'm
You're overlooking.
assuming that you are getting more advances than you guys claim. I don't
what do you mean?
believe. I believe that more men are interested in you guys than you guys let on. I believe that
Well,
more
I
men
didn't
are
say that
interested
they
in
weren't. I didn't say they
what
weren't, but
you
that
said.
don't mean because you're interested, I'm supposed to go out with you.
But why not?
Do you go out with every woman that claims to be in that claims, that claims that they're into you? Like every woman
It,
that wants that may approach you, do you date all of them?
Do you give them access to
no,
you, Shannon? I
but
hope
I'm different. I'm different. So you
No, you're
can't.
not different, but it's the same
not.
scenario. There are a lot of people that are attracted to you, Lauren or me, but that don't mean you have to give them your number or you have to go on a
Yeah.
date. It is what it is. I'm attracted to people, but so again, I don't, but it's okay for people to have a preference. But a lot of times when we talk about women, a lot, what I come to find out, women want a lot, but they really don't know what they want. Like you want a man to be XYZ, and it could be very materialistic, but at the same time, and to what Lauren was saying, you want a man to take care of some of your needs, but men with money that's already on the up, or what we consider high value, and then throw on top of that he has high quality, he's going to look at you and like, well, what do you do? And I think when I know this, so this is what I want to kind of bring up, because you always say, Shannon, oh, and I've heard men say this, we don't care about your money and how much you make. That's not true. Because you don't want no broke bitch. She don't, now you may not, you don't care about her money as far as wanting her to pay your bills because you could do it yourself and take care of you, but you ain't trying to date no broke bitch. You ain't trying to date no chick that has no ambition, who don't know how to go get a bag. I told my son, you're always going to be the head of your household. That's your house, and you want to provide for your family, but don't, if she don't know how to go get a bag, that's not your wife. She don't have
Mm,
to work. She can stay at
that's
home mom, but
debatable.
she has to know how to make money. And guys that I date, people who I'm seeing now, I can't just be, they know I don't give them money, or that they don't, it's not about, they don't care about my money, but they're not trying to sit up here and treat me like a kid. Like they respect the fact that I have my own.
How to get a bag is not one of my requirements for me. How to get a bag is not most of the men like that I know requirements. Now,
So with
now,
that,
ambition.
I gotta ask you a question, Shannon, because with that,
Ambition. No,
so
hold on 1 second, Dana. With that, ambition is important. You know, intelligence is important. How to get a bag and how to hold on. We got Annette up. She's pulling up. So
married, or if you're and y'all live together and you get sick and you can't work on no more, or you just out for the count. So she's going to have to know how to financially maintain that household. She's going to have to step up and work. Men are not invincible.
but
So
that's managed. That's management. That's management. How to manage a house and how to manage finances is different than how to go get a bag.
No. I'm talking about no more money is coming in because you're the breadwinner. But now the winner is losing because you got sick, right? But if she never knew how to go out and, when I say get a bag, I mean have a skill, have a career, or just know how to make money. If she never knew how to do that because you always took care of her because you want her to be fit, feminine, all that stuff, right? You're gonna be in a poorhouse, but all y'all.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen. Because if you're a guy like me or a guy with means of money, you already got systems in place that there's fail safes in place. It ain't. See, we talk about these hypotheticals as if, okay, well, what happens if
she don't know how to manage it? Because you picked a chick.
I don't need her to manage it. I don't need her to manage it. I got an accountant. I got a COO. I got people.
You gotta oversee your accountant. You gotta oversee your financial planner. You gotta oversee the lawyer. She gotta know what the fuck she reading and what she's signing up for.
Are you under the impression? Are you under the impression that in the case that something ever happened to, let's say, for instance, Jeff Bezos before he got a divorce, that his wife was gonna take over? Did you think that when
I just said that? I just said she has to. I said
she had to do nothing.
No.
She ain't got to do nothing. When Kobe passed away.
If something happens to you, the man, because men, y'all act like you're invincible. If something happens to you, she has to know how to maintain the estate, everything. For instance, Vanessa Bryant.
Great example.
She's no dummy. Now, the thing is, they got married when she was 18. However, she wasn't just sitting at home painting her nails, going shopping. She managed the estate. That means you have an executive director, but you had to direct that executive director. You had to make sure all the bills are paid. She was sitting with the accountants because Kobe Bryant said that. She was managing a lot of his business. You need to have some type of smarts about you to do that. And if you don't, and if you pick a girl or
does Vanessa know how to get the bag?
Yes, because
no.
Her husband.
No, Vanessa doesn't know how to get the bag.
Now?
She's not getting the bag. She's managing his estate.
No, what is wrong with you now?
I'm out here. I know the people who manage that. Vanessa is not out. Listen, Vanessa has not created anything new. Even no Michael Jack. It doesn't matter. There's no new creations that's coming.
She's not broke. She's managing.
That's intelligence. Listen, Dana. That's intelligence. You're mistaking you came into this conversation saying that women need to know how to get the bag. You don't want no broke bitch. That was your words. I don't want no broke bitch. She got to know how to get the bag. I'm telling you, I don't care if you broke or not. You can be broke and you don't necessarily need to know how to get the bag. When it comes to management, maintenance, and intelligence, that's important because the things that I'm going to show you along the way is going to be able to, in the case of my untimely demise, you'll be able to handle that. But you don't have to know how to get the bag. These boss bitches. No, that's not part of getting the bag. No. Part of getting the bag. Listen.
You can't manage something that you don't know.
Dana, listen. You're getting is acquiring. Getting is going out there and hunting. To get the food is to go hunt. I'm not talking about cooking. I'm not talking about managing the kitchen and putting the food away and knowing where everything goes. Going out to get and hunt the bear that I'll bring home for everybody to eat. I don't need her to know how to hunt.
Okay,
I don't need a woman that knows how to get the bag and to go out there. No, that's most men. And in fact, that's the reason why, Dana, listen to me. That's the reason why, Dana. No, listen, Dana. That's the reason why most men have issues with masculine women, because the women that know how to quote unquote get the bag, these quote unquote boss bitches that's running out there doing all this masculine shit out there in the world, they don't know how to turn that off when they get home.
No, but that's something else. Not knowing how to turn it off. That is a problem. You should turn it off when you're with your man.
That's why we don't need it. That's why we don't require it to begin with.
But that's okay. So, but you're going from one extreme to another. I don't require you to know how to get it, because if you knew how to get it, you don't know how to turn it off when you're around me. So I just want a woman who don't know how to make money. How about, because it's more better, it's more of an advantage for you if she knows how to make it, if she was already obtaining her own thing in her own career, and then she turned it off when she's in a relationship or around you. Learn how to turn it off. You don't have to be a boss chick with your man, but at the same time, as a man, you want a woman who knows how to make money, who knows, and on top of that, manage that money. It's a lot of women who make money and can't manage it. So if she's not making money and she's married to you, she don't know how to manage your money. And if she does,
that's not necessarily true.
If she knows how to make money and she doesn't know how to manage it, that's still bad. So you want a woman who's fiscal responsible, who has some type of financial experience before she even met you. And if you want her to just have zero financial responsibility or experience, I have an issue with that in a man. I'm looking at you like, okay, so I just have an issue with that with men who say it does not matter to it. Yes, I'm not contributing to the bills. Yes, you will be paying all the bills. I don't care if I'm making $1 million or you make $500,000. I always say this 80-20. That is the most I would chip in is 20, and that is the max. But I won't even do that. But my point is,
the chat is on fire. I can't even see it.
I have a problem with you saying
Dana, you got the chat on fire. You got the chat on fire. They like, what the hell?
But
hey, Annette.
I don't think people are comprehending exactly what I'm talking about.
Because it doesn't make sense. You talking about getting the bag and managing the bag. You talking about going out and getting the food and then cooking the food. But I don't need you to know how to hunt. I don't need you to know how to hunt, babe. I don't need you to know how to hunt. I'm the hunter. And in case I die,
I'm not hunting. You want to do the hunting.
But you want me to? You want a man to find a hunter woman? We don't want hunters.
No. What I'm saying is, when me and you together, I'm not hunting. You want to do the hunting. But if
in order for us to get together, Dana, and before we get together, I gotta like you. And what you're saying is men want hunter women to even date to become a wife. I'm saying to you, we're not looking for hunters. We don't want to hunt. We're not even trying to date hunters. I'm talking about men of a certain statute, because I don't believe in my next podcast is going to be about this 50-50 shit. So, because I don't believe in that 50-50 shit. But that's a whole different, that's a whole different topic. I want to get off. We're
friends, so we 50-50.
But anyways, hey Annette, how you doing, love?
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm liking The Office.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Annette got a fly office.
Sorry, I'm in my nightgown. It's 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so this is my take. And I'm not going to give you rhetorics. I'm going to give you my experience, okay? When I was 21, I met a guy who was a security guard. Okay?
Security guard,
and
okay.
I was already the head of a department at a university. I was smart like that. Mm-hmm. But when I met him, I went to teach somewhere and he helped me carry my bags, and I had a chat with him and he said to me, he was here doing his master's and he was working security to pay for his studies. But then he had a plan to do A, B, and C. So I didn't see a security guard. I saw a man with a plan, right?
Build a
And
bear.
so, of course, I gave him a chance. We got married. We were married for 22 years. After I married him, he set up his own security company. How did he start? He used my car. It wasn't a big car. It was only like $2,000 at the time. He used my car as his security car. He used my money to pay for his office for the first 3 months because I had faith in him. And I'm telling you, within a year, he was earning more than me. And I could lean back, stay at home, and look.
You could rest in your divine femininity. You were able to rest in your divine femininity.
Let's got one question for Annette. Was your name on any other paperwork of his business so you get a percentage? Because you were an investor in his business.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No? I did not put my name on his business. I did not put my name on anything. I know you would, but I came into it full force. It was ride or die, and I was up for it. But I was 21 at the time, okay? And this man started out earning me a year after we met. But Shannon, how does a woman help a man build? Because you said men don't necessarily want a woman that helps them build. Why should you want him to be better? Just accept him how he was. In the first 3 months when he started his business, he didn't have any clients. And there were times when he was ready to give up. Like, I've been doing this. I don't think it's going to work. It was me that was saying to him, listen, you will be okay. Just hang in there, hang in there. And I was paying for our life until he got his first contract 3 months after he started. And it probably took another 2 months before they could start paying themselves. And another few months before he could say, okay, you're expecting a baby, you need to relax now. So what am I saying here? You can choose a man that doesn't have money, but there's nothing wrong with choosing a man that has potential to make money. And I think it's actually good as a woman to help your man make that money by encouraging him and by, just being there to be his helpmeet, because that's what you are. If you sit down and say, well, he's the man, I'm going to accept him the way he is, I don't need to encourage him, I just need to accept him how he is, you stand the danger of him losing his enthusiasm, of him losing his inspiration and losing his will to continue. So that's the job of the woman. And that doesn't mean you're not accepting the fact that he's poor. It just means that as a woman, you're supposed to reproduce whatever comes into your hand. That's why a man gives you one sperm and it turns into millions of cells and turns into a baby. So a woman is actually supposed to reproduce as she goes along. Whatever touches her hand is supposed to turn to more. So I think there's nothing wrong with you wanting your man to do more. That's the first thing. And this is a real life experience. He went on to be a millionaire, and I got to a stage where I was like, getting a new car every 3 years, and people forgot where we started and so on and so forth. But that's that. 20 years later, the marriage broke down, not because it broke down, he just moved back to Africa, and I didn't want to go. So that was the end of that phase of our lives. Good, because good people can get divorced. There's nothing bad about him. We just outgrew each other. So he moved on. Then I met someone else who was already a multimillionaire, had everything, was like out there, right? And we started dating. But during the period of our dating, we started talking about his money and, what he does and all that kind of stuff. And he's the top 5 of what he does in my country, which is the UK.
Shit.
And he was saying, I charge my clients 1% for everything that I do, right? He's a wealth manager. I charge 1%. And, he was so proud. I've been charging 1% for the past 40 years. And I said to him, but you're number 5, baby. You're number 5. You're the top 5 in the whole country. And people who are not even number 5 are charging 3.5%. Why are you charging 1%? He said, well, I'm already rich. I already have money. I don't really need any more. and my clients like me, they're used to it. And I said, well, what's wrong with asking a little bit more of what you're really worth? And he's like, do you think my clients will like that? They might withdraw their business. I'm like, well, if you don't ask, you'll never know. He's like, It took me 2 years to convince him. And he raised his percentages from 1 to 1.5. But that immediately gave him 50% more income than he had for the last 40 years.
And didn't lose a client. And didn't lose a single client.
He didn't lose any client. The clients he lost is what we call legacy clients that you just have because you've had them for 40 years, not necessarily because they were earning you money. But he didn't lose any of the productive clients that were giving him money. And to this day, he says to me, I'm so glad we met because it never occurred to me to charge more.
Was he African too?
No, he's not African.
What is he?
But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he's from.
I bet you he wasn't African American.
No, he wasn't African American. My first husband was Nigerian. The second guy I'm with is English. But I don't think it matters that much. I just think I can't speak for every man. I can only talk about my experience, right? But to this day, he says to me, I'm so glad you gave me that advice because now I've got a lot more money to spend on your whatever. That's another example. The final example.
Go ahead. Because I do want to insert one point. You've been with him for a couple years though. Is marriage on the horizon? You guys have been dating for 5 years. Is marriage even an option, or you guys are doing a life partner thing?
Marriage is on the horizon because my official divorce just came through.
Oh, okay. So you guys, so there's some technicalities. Okay, no problem.
Yes.
All right.
Just based on. But the point I'm just trying to make is, what contribution can a woman make to help a man exceed the potential that he has already? We shouldn't push back so much on women who are trying to say that when I meet a man, if he's not where I want him to be, I may be able to help him get more. That's what I'm trying to say, because it is possible. And same way, the man can help the woman get more. Because until I met the guy I'm with now, I remember him asking me one day, what's your life worth? I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, but you've not put insurances in place. You've not put a pension in place. You've not sorted things out to make sure you're going to be okay when you're 60. You do realize you're not going to be young forever. I never thought about that. So we kind of partners are supposed to help each other grow. We're not supposed to be stagnant. So if you marry a man that's earning 30 grand, I don't think it's wrong to introduce the concept of both of you growing more. I don't think that should be seen as by men as a woman trying to push a man in a bad way. Because when Lauren was saying, I can date a man who makes 50, but I'm happy to help him try to get more. I think you want a woman that's going to water the plant that you put in the ground already. Yes, the man is the one that's doing the work, but you would want a woman that either waters the ground or helps you stay inspired to make more. I think that's what I have a feeling that's what Lauren was trying to say, right?
Yeah, that is. I was going to let you finish to kind of round about, to go back to that point, was when I said, that's why it's not a deal breaker to me. It's just a preference, because if I do happen to run into someone that doesn't make the desired salary, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're cut off. No, we can totally kick it. We can see the vibe. But if you're not giving me to her point, when she met her husband, he was already in process and making progress toward his goal. If I meet a man and he's sitting on his couch, sitting on his homeboy couch, mama couch, whatever, and has no desire to get off of that said couch, we can't rock.
And the difference is, I'm so happy by luck his business succeeded. But if his business did not succeed and he didn't make the money, I had already married him knowing that this is where he was.
And that's the point that I wanted to. Now, understand that there's levels to this, right? So one thing that's important is that you married him when you were 21. I'm assuming he was around the same age.
33.
So, he was 33. Oh, okay. So that's perfect to me, because I believe that most men, even though he didn't start building until he got 33, he was already a security guard, and it took him a year, and it required you to get with him for him to go to the next level. That's actually good. But the fact that you were young, I don't know that same principle would apply to an older woman. So if we get out of the 20s, let's get into the 30s. Do 30-year-old women have the time to gamble? See, when you're 21, you got the time to gamble on a guy that is a security guard, and maybe one day he'll end up with $1 million security company, and hopefully to go there. And if in the event that he didn't hit the milestones that you were expecting, or you didn't see growth after year 2, after year 3, you could have ended that relationship, or maybe there would have been problems and you would have been out of that by the age of 24. But the fact that you No. I'm saying and also I'm giving you the American perspective. See, overseas is a little different. A lot of brothers is always talking about brothers need to start going overseas because the mentality of women over there are different than the American one. So, over here, divorce is just like, it's almost like if he ain't got it going, the women over here run to divorce it's quick, it's easy. They just, if they're not happy or some irreconcilable difference, or they're not going through it, struggling over here is not an option for most women. They don't want to deal with no more struggling. They felt the struggle was over in the 50s and the 60s. Today, there ain't no struggling. So over here, that relationship would have been over with if he didn't go to the next level. My thing is, if you would have been instead 21, but 31, or even worse, 41, do you, or most women, or most American women, have the option have the time and the patience to date a security guard who might one day create a $1 million security company? And the answer is no.
Let me answer the question, Shannon. I think people misunderstand what makes people happy, or what should make you happy. This is where we now move away from high value in terms of money to high quality in terms of character. What really makes you happy, right? When you come home, you want to have a person who is looking out for you. You want to have a person who can do homework with your children. You want to have a person who, if your fire alarm goes off, can fit your fire alarm. You want to have a person who you can hold hands and walk on the beach with. These are old time traditional values. When you look at research on what makes people happy, or the happiest countries in the world, they're not necessarily the wealthiest countries in the world. They're countries where people still value the basic things like family, friends, community, communal living, just eating with family. And it doesn't matter whether you're eating caviar and salmon at the Ritz. It's just being able to eat in your little shack, happy, at least you've got a little shack, and just enjoy life. Research actually shows that people who do that live longer, actually register happier on the happiness scale. The happiest country in the world is not a rich country. So in the US and the UK, and to some extent even Africa now, because we're being polluted almost because of the internet by the Western values, money makes you happy in a way, gives you options, but real happiness. When Steve Jobs was dying, he didn't say, bring me my millions to lie with me in the bed and that will make me feel better. When Steve Jobs was dying, he wanted his wife, his family, his children to be around him. So real wealth is in people, is in your family. It's in the people you have around you. So when you're 45 or 46 or whatever, if you've got enough money, don't shun having a guy who can give you all the other things above just having a little bit more money.
Exactly.
Because you could have a high value man who has money, but he doesn't come with anything else.
That's the point I was
He's
making
not really
earlier.
that interested in you. That's the end of my argument.
That's what I was saying earlier, was like, high quality is hard to find because you don't have too many people that have the character that usually have those characteristics. You can come up on money easily, whether you're investing, whether you inherit money, whatever. Money can come and go, but it's the foundation of who makes you that seems to be the piece that people struggle with. So if I can find a dude that's solid, that I can have a conversation with, that we can laugh, I can feel comfortable, feel protected, all of these different things, money will come. Money can come. And so that's why I will never say it's a deal breaker. I absolutely won't talk to you, or I'll clown somebody if they come in my face and they're not making a certain amount, because character matters to me, because character is what gets you really what gets you money. Like to your point, if you can work a room, talk to people, have good relationships with people, you can be in a room, sit at the tables where decisions are made, and get money that way. I can't tell you how many rooms I've been a part of, and I could be clueless, but because I can speak to people, I get along with people, the character's there, people can see like, oh, she's really an authentic person. You can definitely enter into a room, and I think that's true for men as well. So I 1000% agree with you.
But Lauren, if you come back home and all of a sudden you have a toothache and your tooth is really hurting you, right? And you ring your man. You could be with a man who's high value and at work, and you're like, oh honey, I've got this really bad toothache. It's really hurting. And he'll be like, oh baby, really? Okay, but I'm at a meeting right now because I've got to make loads of money, and I'm at a meeting. I'll find a way to sort it out, and I'll see you when I get back. Or you have a guy who's like, oh, you've got a toothache? Oh my God. Okay, I'm on my way. And he comes to you, he picks you up, takes you to the dentist, sits outside with you, holds your hand when you're having your tooth root canal, makes you soup when you come home, and just sits with you and like wants to wait until you're okay. Same thing when you have a headache, same thing when he has a headache. Trust me, that will give you more happiness than a guy who just throws money at you.
Mm-hmm. Back up a little bit. I disagree with that.
Women actually still divorce rich men. It's not because they didn't have money, it's because they were not getting the love, affection, and attention that they needed. And that's why women, millions of them, stay with so-called broke men. Yeah, I'm talking about men like the guy that does that work for the postal service. Why? Because they know that if they have a headache, he's gonna put them first. They know that when they're pregnant, he's gonna take them to the antenatal classes. They just know that he's got their back. It's not always in the UK. About the dollars.
In the UK, not the US. Go ahead, Dana.
I understand what you're saying, and
I think we don't give credit to the many American women and men that are married without money in the US.
I'm living it. I'm living it in that. But go ahead, Dana.
I understand what you're saying, that concept, but and I'm sorry, the UK is expensive, so this is not just an American thing, because UK get down the same way that America get down. That's why everybody wants to come to America for that American dream. Let's not forget that. But if I had a toothache, you know what I mean? I think it goes on individual. You could caress my jaw, make my soup, give me my Advil, sit and hold my hand. But if you don't got the money to pay that bill, that's more of a problem and a headache for me. So you making my tooth hurt more, because now it's rotten because we can't afford a dentist. So I'd rather bypass you holding my hand, honey, as long as you're able to pay the bill. And this is generalized.
You should have insurance, Dana. You should have insurance.
I was just going to say, if he's spending $50,000, he's going to have insurance.
No. But
Yeah, but then she's talking about the premiums. Make sure them premiums is paid.
Yeah, I'm generalizing it. So even if he has insurance, say if he has insurance and I don't, but we're not married, okay, is he gonna put me on as a domestic partner? To me, that's showing love and affection. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't necessarily have to be married in order to do certain things like that. To me, that's better than holding my hand. Those type of benefits. Some men, they have, and I'm not talking about the ones who make a whole bunch of money, but just a regular man who has a good job with good insurance. They're not gonna, I'll hold your hand, and I know you don't have insurance, but I'll hold your hand at the dentist office, but I'm not gonna make you my domestic partner. I'm not going to help you pay your bill, but I'll hold your hand and make soup for you. See, I don't want that. I don't need that.
Wrong.
Do you see what I'm saying?
So that's wrong, Dana. You're right, yeah.
But there are men out there who could do those things for you. But what counts the most for me is either you're going to put me on your insurance, whether we're married or not, or you're going to pay that dentist bill because I can't afford it. That's more important before you make the soup and hold my hand and give me my pills. Mm-hmm. And that's missing, I think, in a lot of relationships. Yeah, that's missing in a lot of situations.
Go ahead, Lauren. What were you going to say?
I'd expect him to put me on his insurance, Dana. I'd expect him to put me on his insurance. I'd expect him to put me on his insurance for sure. Right.
And maybe, Shannon, you need to do with Sean, there's a difference between American men and other men, right?
Oh.
Because American men, they look at
American men or women?
No, American men. Men.
I can't speak on the men. I could talk about the women, though.
Everybody else could. The ladies can, but I'm just saying. But what Annette was saying, she would expect that, right? But in America, American men were like, put you on my insurance for what? You're not my dependent. You get a man somewhere else, they probably wouldn't mind putting you as a domestic partner on their insurance.
So you're dating him, you're together, you're living together, you're doing everything together, having sex, mutual, exclusive, and he has a problem with putting you on the insurance?
In America.
I'm giving, that's an example.
Oh, really?
Right. And so in America, yes, you're dating him, having sex with him, doing all these things. He ain't gonna put you on his insurance, even though he know you don't have it, right? But my thing is, okay, if you're not gonna put me on insurance, or you want to pay this bill because I have a toothache, then he may say, no, I can't afford it, but I'll hold your hand. I'll make you some soup. I'm like, no, I don't need that. Get out of here with that.
Because then that shows that there's no goodwill in the relationship. It's not a total commitment. A total commitment requires that both parties do everything possible to make sure that both sides are comfortable. So if I'm with a man that doesn't care about my insurance, even though it doesn't cost him any more to put me on it, well then I won't be with that man, because that means you don't care. I'm not your bone of your bones. You're not loving me the way you love your body.
And this is why I go back to the tangibles. This is why I need tangibles. And that's part of being high value, obtaining tangibles, but I need high quality to where you're willing to share those tangibles.
Yes.
And that's hard to find.
I agree. So Lauren is smiling. Why are you smiling?
Well, I'm listening to both sides, right? I've already expressed that, like, I feel you. Like, while I think when you were giving your example, yes, you went to some extremes. No, we don't expect a man to leave his job for a toothache. That would never happen. But at least when you get home, is there compassion there to be like, oh, I couldn't leave work, but I brought home some soup. I did, to show, that you care. Now I understand Dana's point, right? Like, yeah, you can do all this, but if you can't help financially, why are we talking? And the thing that went to my mind is like, well, I probably wouldn't be talking to homeboy in the first place if, one, I didn't have insurance, he ain't got insurance, and he can't cover, right? I'm in a situation where I have insurance, so the reason why that didn't come to my mind of like, how you gonna help me pay this bill? One, we're dating. Like I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm dating someone and I've expected him to pay my bills. And maybe that's where I'm just jacked up and I'm missing out on whatever. And it is people out here that's like dating men and they're paying for stuff. But for me, I just haven't experienced a man talking about give me your light bill, water bill, I'll pay it. If it happens, amazing, whatever, right? So I'm just listening to the conversation, and in a dating situation, I'm not sure that I would want someone to cover a medical expense more than I would want them to show care and compassion. And the reason why is because, one, care and compassion, in my opinion, is a characteristic that men don't typically show, right? Like they don't it's not a lot of men out here that I guess show that they care, right? I hear so many narratives from men saying, we don't care how your day was, we don't do this, we don't do that. That's perfectly fine. Okay, but for me, what I'm looking for is, can you be a high earner and still be a human being and care and show compassion? That could be, and people can label that person as a simp. I don't know, I'm not a part of the manosphere, whatever, but I'm just listening to the conversation. It's like, why can't you have both?
Well,
I think you can have both.
Because I look at it like this: men are providers, not caretakers. So I agree with what you're saying, and that would be nice. But in the real world, they are not caretakers. Their job is to provide. I don't, yes, because I just do a little bit of my personal business, because during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs or whatever. Like, I couldn't work because I work on people. So I had to go from private insurance to Medicaid. Now, in the first place, I was like, oh, I like this because I'm tired of paying, you got to pay your premium every month. That's a lot. Yeah. But now I'm like, I need to go back to private, honey, because this state Medicaid stuff, you got to queue. Yeah, you end up seeing the difference of treatment to a certain degree. But so in the meantime, until I go back to private, if something were to happen to me, and let's say Medicaid doesn't cover it, you got to come out of pocket. So the dude I'm with, he gonna pay for that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I would rather you paying that bill, being that provider. You don't gotta hold my hand while I'm at the doctor's office, but be that provider and pay that bill because of the situation that I'm in right now. So men are too, but you think that you want both. You want the provider and the caretaker. But let me just say, the trouble with saying that men are providers, they're not caretakers.
Well, let me give a different example, right? Because I hear you. And the reason why I'm like,
Lauren wants a beta softie.
No, I don't.
That makes a bunch of money.
So I don't have any kids.
Nothing wrong with betas. If that's what you call a man that, if what you call a man that cares for his woman the way he cares for himself, if that's a beta, is that supposed to be a bad thing? That's a good thing, right?
A man that takes care of his woman the way a man that takes care of his woman the way he takes care. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's not necessary.
Isn't that what the Bible says we should do?
No, that's what I'm saying. But don't get it mixed. First of all, I was just being tongue in cheek. But beta men are usually men that follow the lead of his woman. And if I'm saying when I'm poking at Lauren, I'm talking about what she's saying that he needs to do in order for him. And then if that man acquiesces to her requests, then that's a beta. Now, if a guy is just naturally going to take care of his woman, that's what I'm alpha 100%. I'm actually alpha on steroids, but I'm going to make sure that my woman is taken care of. I'm going to wait. So that comes with the territory of being with the Shannon, is that my girl is going to be taken care of.
Exactly. So I want to give a different example to help kind of paint the picture, and then I'll leave it alone. To help paint the picture that I'm trying to make, right? I haven't had any kids. I don't have any kids, so I don't know what it's like to be pregnant. But I do have friends that have had children out of wedlock and married, right? So like different friends that have children different ways, right? Okay. So for example, if we were to take this kind of a similar example, you're in labor, whatever, you have the baby, and my husband or boyfriend, whatever context we want to look at it at, is not being empathetic, not being sensitive to the fact that I just went through labor. I'm in pain, probably more pain than a normal person would be. He's not holding my hand, but rather he's like, I got you here. I packed the bag, I put it in the car, I'm paying for the hospital bill, this, that, and the third, but not really showing the care that you would need after you have a child. That would be alarming. So yeah, like these baby steps of like these baby situations of like, I got into a car accident, a fender bender, is he going to be like, I'm going to pay for it? Or is he going to come and make sure I'm okay? Like, these are indicators that can help give you insight as to how this person would show up should a major life event happen. If I have a child, right? Are you going to be like, are you going to show empathy? Are you going to be patient? And let's not bring postpartum depression or anything that happens after the fact. Are you going to be patient with me? So like, I'm just saying, like, when I'm in a situation, if I'm talking to a guy, I'm looking at certain things, how you handle certain situations, whether it's large or small, that would give me insight on how you would handle big major life events that a person would go through. So these are the things that I think about, whether it's a toothache, whether it's a fender bender or having a baby. All of these things are related, in my opinion.
I mean, I remember one time when he went to Nigeria, I picked up his car and I went to school. On my way back, I literally fell asleep on the wheel. I was that tired. And I went under a truck, a trailer. But it was a high car, so I didn't die or anything. Thank God for that. But when I rang him up, and I was obviously like, oh my God, I had an accident. I'm really sorry, but like it was a BMW X5. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but your car's been trashed. And the first thing he said to me, but are you okay?
See?
But are you okay? Right? That's the kind of man you want to be with. And then he wasn't worried about it. He was just worried about, are you okay? But the same thing applies to the woman. When he calls me and tells me, I'm too tired to do this, or I'm too tired to do that, or can you pick me up from the airport or whatever? It doesn't even occur to me to question. I'm like, you don't need to ask. Sure. If I don't pick you up, who will? So this is how a real relationship is supposed to be. I don't understand how in America, get an Uber. I don't understand how in America there's that disconnect. It's like a real relationship is supposed to be ride or die. Second thing, if I suddenly have an accident and my face gets scarred, right, and I'm no longer pretty, or actually, I'll tell you what, I had a hair problem. I wear wigs all the time because my hair doesn't grow. In that marriage, he didn't say to me, oh, well, your hair stopped growing. You don't have the hair that you had when he still stayed, right? Same thing, if he breaks a leg and loses one leg, you should be prepared to stay because it's ride or die, right? So when the money is there, it's great because we all want the money to be there. And trust me, I do like Gucci bags and all that. But having said all that, the real important things in life is not money. Yeah, money pays the bills. You need to be able to pay your bills. Because if you can't pay your bills, you're going to get divorced. That's the number one cause of divorce. But excessive luxury is not the most important thing in life. As long as he can help to pay the bills, or both of you can contribute to pay the bills. Real life, there's so many couples. Even in America, go to the group on Facebook called it's a married people's group. There's thousands of couples every day going, oh, it's our 16th wedding anniversary. And they're just celebrating in front of like a little cake and like pop soda. And they're happy as hell. So I don't understand why you guys think it's not happening.
Annette, so I may need to bring you back for another show. We need to talk about the difference between the cultures of America and over the pond, because I'm hearing a lot of stark differences in my experience on maybe. And if what you're saying is the way you're thinking is how most women overseas thinks, and some of my friends date women overseas and they agree with you, then we need to have a discussion on the difference between the mindset of an American woman and a woman abroad. But let me ask you this, and maybe you can give us some insight on this. So today's discussion, we're talking about high value men and high quality men. And there's a difference over here. Now over here in America with the advent of Kevin Samuels and his popularity, the term high value man has become really popular and a lot of people understand it. A lot of people don't like it. Some people try to redefine it. Kevin has given 6 principles that lay out what a high value man is. And I've always contended to say that high quality man is not the same as high value man. A lot of people like to mesh them all up in one and call it high value man, and that's not the case. Let me ask you this. You married your husband of 22 or 24 years, I'm not sure, of when you were 21 years old. Mm-hmm. Your boyfriend now that you're in your 40s, you're dating a millionaire, and he was already a millionaire when you met him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you the mindset. What were you thinking before you met your millionaire boyfriend? Would you be willing to do all over again what you did for your first husband?
I'm not with him because he's a millionaire per se. I'm with him just because he's a nice guy.
No, I got you. But it's nice that he's a millionaire. And I'm wondering, did you recognize that? Very. Of course it is. So my question is, are you saying that doesn't matter to you? It just coincidentally he happened to have money and you landed a guy that happened to be the number 5 wealth management money manager in the UK?
No, I didn't know he had money when I met him. But when I found out he had money, I did a list from coming to America. Great. Don't give it up. I like it.
Interesting.
Right?
So you
Lisa
are
was not looking for a rich guy, but when she found rich, of course she was happy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't like money. Of course I do. But it wasn't the number one. I was looking for just a guy. I wasn't looking for somebody who I would have to feed.
Well, you didn't have to feed your first husband when he was a security guard, but he also didn't have $1 million security company. My question is,
for the first 3 months, I probably.
Oh, you saying so in the initial relationship, you probably did have to carry him a little bit?
For the first 3 months, yes.
Were you willing to do that again, all over again after you divorced?
No.
Why?
Because I already had 4 children, and so I didn't want to inherit another child to make it 5 children.
It goes back to your point,
because my hands were full by then.
When you said that she did that when she was in her 20s. Mm-hmm. Like she got married in her 20s, so she could take the, I don't want to call it a risk, but she could take the risk of like being with somebody and then it not working out. And that went back to the point that I made earlier, like women that are in their 30s and above, that's why there's so much emphasis on getting a high value man versus a high quality man, because you're making up for lost time. All of the things that I described in the scenarios that I talked about are characteristics of a high quality man, right? Most of which most women don't want because they are not quite at the income level to be considered high value. But my perspective is you can obtain money by any means necessary, legal or illegal, however you want to get it. But that's my take. But I mean, I'm with her. I mean, if I'm in my 30s, I mean, I am in my 30s, but if I run into somebody in my 30s and they are not quite where they need to be, I don't think I have the time. I maybe have 3 months, but I definitely don't have 3 years to be wasted on hoping that this dude gets to where he needs to be.
Y'all women are a trip.
But if you already earn. There's a lady, doctor, I think she's called Lisa Bennett or something like that. If you already earn a lot of money, you're a surgeon and you earn loads of money and you don't have any kids and you want kids and you want a man, you already make enough for 2 or 5 people. Your priorities are going to be different because you've got money already. Most women like that would probably take on a guy that's doing the UPS job, only earning 30 grand, and because she wants the babies and she knows he's going to be there to help look after the children and protect her when winter comes and all that, because she's already got the money.
Yeah, but
you said most.
If I had 500,
the woman has the money. Yeah, the women aren't. By and large, women aren't. Yeah, but.
You know where I thought you were going? I thought you was going to go with that to where but this is true as well, that some women would marry the UPS man because he has time to provide, but to also be the caretaker for the wife and the kids. To whereas if you're dating or if you're married to a surgeon, he's working he's working a lot of hours. So when you do have children with the surgeon, then you're basically going to be raising those children alone to a certain degree because he has to work to finance the lifestyle, which is why some women.
No, that's not what I mean. If the
woman
woman is the
surgeon. I know. I thought that's where you were going, but you're flipping it to where the woman makes more, whatever. But
because there are a lot of women who make a lot of money. And I know many here. I don't know about you, but if a woman is a surgeon and she's making 400 grand, 500 grand, and she's single, and she's 39 or 40, I don't know what they would do in America, but my advice would be, why freeze your eggs? Marry the guy who likes you, who you vetted. He's a Christian. You said you share the same morals. You've both done premarital counseling. You know, he values family. He treats his mother well. He's not a criminal. The only difference is he only makes 30 grand.
He's not going to stay around.
Because,
yeah, but he might not stick around.
She's afraid that she's going to have to pay alimony and child support and all this when they get a divorce.
Oh, you mean the thing that men worry about?
Yes. Which is why men
so America is more about money than relationships. What you're saying.
So she may come sign a prenup, but then there's other ways to get around the prenup to where he not only does he want child support, he's going to want alimony. And there are men who are doing that. There are men who specifically marry women that make way more than them so that he could be financially secure. See, a lot of men are flipping it now. They're doing what women been doing for decades.
So what you're saying is America,
America, they do that. It's men in other countries that do that too. A lot of times they come over here too. A lot of times men from other countries come over here and want to marry an American woman so that they could get those benefits. But this is universal. But we could just focus in America because that happens a lot here in America. But people from other countries that come over here, they develop that American mentality quick.
I just think you guys are not giving credit to the millions of American couples who are married and are still together. I see them from
No, here. We are. It's just only 40% of them. You know, in the black community, it's 60% of the married couples are divorcing. So we do want to give them credit, and of that 40%, 50% of them are struggling and arguing and just don't get a divorce because it's cheaper to keep the other person. Generally, cheaper to keep her. So happiness in marriage in America is starkly different than it is overseas. Annette, happiness here in America is usually a lot of toleration. People are just hanging out there, and it's mainly because everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, and there's a lot of facade out here and a lot of fake people. And so of the 40% that decide to go ahead and stay together, 50% of them are probably somewhat happy. The other 50% are miserable. That leaves a whole lot of unhappy divorced people, or a small percent of people that are happily married today. So it just is what it is. Now,
America is a very capitalist country because I know that everything is
all about the Benjamins, baby. Over here, it's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. It's about the money. Yeah. It's about the status, the lifestyle, and not the fundamentals of duty and what's required and what should be most prevalent in a relationship. And people are looking for happiness, and Disney sells us all these wonderful movies, and we see all these love stories, and we got these talk shows that talk all these wonderful, wonderful things. But when you get down to when you get behind closed doors in somebody's home, it's rarely ever like that.
So do you think this is mainly in the black community, or it's all over?
Oh no, it's across the board. Yeah, that's an American problem. It's an American problem.
Yeah,
it's an American problem. My only thing though is I want to touch on what you mentioned, and everybody, I got to get used to this. So I got to get used to telling people, get the likes up. I don't even know what my likes are. I can't even see it. But I want everybody just to please hit the like button because likes are free. They don't cost anything. just hit the like button, and if you don't like what we're talking about, hit the thumbs down, but hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down button if you like this.
You have moderators?
No, I don't even know how to add moderators yet. I just got monetized like 2-3 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks. But I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna start making people mod. No, you know what? I did add users, but I don't know if that's the same as moderators, so I can't see the screen. I don't know if people are in here, but I'll figure it out later. But Annette, you mentioned, women that make money. Why don't they just find a man that is going to bring them the baby? And she's a surgeon. There's not that many women in America that make that much money. It's only like 15% of women over here make over $85,000. But if we want to have the discussion and talk about that 15% of women that makes over $85,000 that can sustain a household with her income. Yeah. The problem is with those women, and I know it sounds great in concept, because it's like, why don't, she just find a guy, maybe even a young guy, then they just live happily ever after off her income and everything. I think that's putting women out of nature's order. And what happens is, by and large, at least here, women will eventually not respect that man. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen is the woman that makes that money, the executive vice of whoever, and the doctors and the lawyers and the attorneys and those women that's getting to the bag, is going to, no matter how you slice it, women, you guys have we didn't change. We didn't evolve in the last 50 years. You know what I'm saying? We're still who we always been. We've always been. Women, whether you make money or not, still want a man to be able to be a man in the household. Yep. And oftentimes, people use Oprah Winfrey and Stedman as an example. Yeah. But wait a minute, Oprah Winfrey is a billionaire. She's worth 2.5. I don't know what she's worth today, but $2 billion, and Stedman's only worth a couple million. Like, I mean, how does that? That's because Stedman is the man behind the closed doors. I was told that about 20 years ago. As somebody that knew Stedman, he was like, y'all all think that, Oprah Winfrey for the Oprah show, and this is back in the 90s, I was told this. Oprah Winfrey for the Oprah show got women thinking that Oprah's the boss. Behind closed doors, Stedman and Oprah is very much in nature's order. Stedman is the man, and he takes care of his woman. She brings in the bread, and she's a boss over at Harpo Studios. She's a boss over at OWN Network. But when she gets home, she turns that off, and her and Stedman are in nature's order, and Stedman handles his woman the way the divine meant it to be. And so that's why that relationship has stood the test of time. They've been together.
When they first got together, he was worth way more than her.
Yeah, he was more. This is before Color Purple.
It was always that respect there.
So, yeah. That's the point. Right. Yeah. Before Color Purple, she wasn't making no bread, but when she got the show, that's when her money started coming in. But did nothing change at home. And so, to Annette's point, for the doctor, for the woman surgeon, and for the woman attorney, and for the woman business owner that's making so much money, why not just go get a guy? Is because most often she's not going to respect him for too long, and he's not going to want to be. And most men are not, no matter how much he makes, is not going to want to be in that position for too long. In fact, I believe what's name just break up this weekend? Taraji and her. Well, you know what? He's an ex NFL player, so he probably got some money. But the point is, I think they broke up this past weekend.
No, they've been broke up.
So the two examples that I can pull up is, we had a prime minister in England called Margaret Thatcher.
Oh yeah,
she was the prime minister of the whole country, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like the president in America. Her husband was called Dennis. And more than him, she was the prime minister of the whole country. So in public, she was the man, because they did used to call her the Iron Lady. But everybody knew that she wasn't going to go on any trips without her husband. And everybody knew that her husband was with her all the time, because you know what she always did? He never ate in a restaurant. He only ate food that she cooked. So she was famous for running away from cabinet meetings to go and cook for her husband, or she'll invite the whole cabinet to her house and cook for everybody just to make sure that Dennis ate. You can read it on Google, Margaret Thatcher and wife skills and everything. So she was always the wife. She was always still feminine, and it was always Dennis this, Dennis that, you know, till the day they never divorced. They lived together until they both died first. I think Dennis died first.
I got to push back on Shannon real quick, because me and you was going back and forth about men don't want a woman that's 100. That conversation.
Well, wait, hold on, Dana. Hold on, Dana. I want Annette to land her point. She was getting ready to give 2 examples. So the first one was Margaret Thatcher.
The second example is the Queen of England. Queen Elizabeth and her husband, right? Philip. He's passed away now. She's the queen, right? But everybody knew that all the decisions she made for the country and in the palace and everything she had to run them by her husband. And they knew that she was the queen, but really the person leading the country, she couldn't make decisions unless he agreed with it. And he reformed the whole palace when he was there. And they stayed together until he died last year at the age
Even
of
though
90
she's
something.
the queen.
She's the Queen of England. She's the Queen of England. And there's stories about how when she'll be at big state events and she's busy meeting all the head of states, and he just used to stand in the corner doing a Stedman, right? But whenever she was a bit nervous or whatever, she knew that all she had to do was just turn around, have a look at him, and he was always there ready to say, you know, like, keep going, girl. Yeah, keep. He was the wind beneath her wings. He was the husband. He was the leader. But he allowed her to do her duties, but he led behind closed doors, but not even so much. Everybody knew that he was the one that ran the shots. So I'm just saying that powerful women, Madeleine Albright in America.
Madeleine Albright, yeah.
Madeleine Albright. She's another example. She was a big Secretary of State or something like that.
She was our
and she still used
first
to go
female
home
Secretary
to do
of State.
Homeschooling and childcare and things like that. She still did all her wifely duties. So what am I saying? It is possible. It's not romantic. There are women who have actually done it, and that actually do it every day.
Yeah. There's anomalies out there. there's anomalies out there. There's nothing is absolute, but by and large, that's going to be a problem. By and large, that's going to be an issue, and that's why you don't normally see it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you just don't normally see it. But at the same time, how's that working out for women? You know, and so you got these women that are out there that's been conditioned to get the bag. And Dana, we're gonna go to your point that you were pushing back on. But we've got these women that's out there that's conditioned to go out there and get the bag and get your degrees, and they spend up all their most formidable years, their 20s, out there figuring out and setting up their career, and then they figure they can go out there and pick a man off the man tree. But then the men that they're looking at is looking right past them. And so I don't know that it's necessarily working out. And so when you get the women that got the bag and they're looking for even the younger guy or somebody that's not really up there, then you have somebody who's kind of like, you got a relationship that's, again, like I mentioned, out of order. And so that's not really working out too well either. And therein lies, I think, a report that just came out. They used the Pew report from 2019, but the report just came out saying that Black women are the most I don't know if it's worldwide, but I know it's certainly nationwide, have a 63% chance of never getting in a relationship. Before it was about marriage. It was about just having a husband. Now we're talking about not even being with somebody, not even a boyfriend, not even a live-in
what was the reasons why?
buddy. I don't know. I'll pull it up for you and I'll throw it in a description, and then I'll shoot it to you direct, Dana. But that's what the study was saying, and I was just like, wow. And it had white women as the least, but it had Black women as the highest at risk. And it's probably because hypergamy is real, And women do want a man that's generally is on a higher socioeconomic status than him. The problem is men aren't there yet. And that's why I promote that men need to go ahead and take care of that and get their money right before they start falling in love. Because next thing you know, if you have an issue where you can't afford to take care of the family and give the wife the things that she wants or desires or make life easy for her, then you're going to have problems at home. And therein lies the divorce rate. But if everything is in the right order and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, then you're fine. Now, this doesn't apply to young couples. I'm really coming from, I'm 49 years old, so I'm coming from an older standpoint. Like Annette, when she got married at 21, I think that's fantastic. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I suggest that women are in it. Any women in their 20s should go ahead and lock down the best options, because they probably got the best options that they had at that point from future on. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, but by and large, it's not the case. Now, you had some smoke for me, Dana. Go ahead. What was you pushing back on?
No, no. When we was talking about the Queen, Oprah, all those other women, you know, and their duties to their husbands, but those women would be considered hunters in their world, in their life. So
they are.
Right. So the fact is that I think you kind of, not, you didn't take offense to it, but you pushed back when I said that, you know, some men, particularly men of a certain income bracket, they want to know that their woman is capable of getting a bag. And that's what I meant by getting a bag. Just being a go-getter, being ambitious, or, you know, having a career, having something of your own, and not just making it all about him or up under him. So we just named, you know, some very high profile women, but like you just said about Oprah and Stedman, when they're together and when they're at home, the roles reverse. So women are capable.
So yeah, even like the Margaret Thatcher, Oprah Winfrey, you know what I'm saying, Beyonce. As long, but see, the thing is, we're speaking on rarities. When I have enough data to generalize, I generally do. And so while we can talk about Oprah and we can talk about Margaret Thatcher, and we can talk about these,
but those are billionaire women. So that's the rarity because of their income bracket. But let's just talk about women
the average
today, the average woman who do have a career. A lot of marriages and a lot of relationships, the woman already has her career. She's working. You know, there are a lot of moms who work
and she's single.
And they're still married.
And she's single.
I'm talking about married people and people in relationships. I know a lot of, not just Black, but other races too, a lot of career women, because I'm in a tri-state area, they have flourishing careers and they have a family.
And they're divorcing.
No,
that's my point. No, listen. You can't. No, listen. You can't argue the number. So I get it. They're married, but 60%. No, but you have to. You can't ignore the number. We can't look at these examples. Well, of course it exists. There's nothing absolute.
This is what I'm saying to that. This is what I'm saying, to be specific with you. It can exist for that woman to have her career and have a family or have a man and know her place in her relationship.
Well, yes, absolutely. Is that the argument?
Because you're saying that men don't care. Earlier you were saying that men don't care about a woman's money, or if they're
high value men. High value men.
Right. What I'm saying to you is, they care in a context of, because I know high value men who care in a context of, no, she's not paying the bills or helping me financially, but I want to see if she has something going on for herself. Are you a hunter in your own world? You know, so if me and you get together, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. But before you met me, were you already taking care of yourself?
So listen, Dana,
and that's attractive to some men. And the judge,
not most.
But to the judge, me personally, I only like to date alpha men or whatever. But the judge even said this on my show before. He was like, people need to date in their income bracket, especially if you're a woman and you're making high income.
Yes.
So, and he says usually alphas, some alpha men, they prefer alpha women. So again, it depends on the individual, how they think. He did say that. He always dates alpha. That he's attracted to alpha women.
Okay. By and large, alpha men are not attracted to alpha women. By and large, I get. Well, I know. But I hang out with them. But I'm here in Los Angeles, where there's a ton of them on every block, and I hang out with them. They're my circles. They don't want alpha women because all that is an argument.
What does an alpha woman look like?
A leader, somebody that's out there combative. That, you know what that turns into? Argument, combating, misunderstanding, and very little cooperation. It turns into with her man. It turns into two people navigating.
But what if she's an alpha, but she's cooperative with her man?
Well, that's what we'd love to have those, but where are they? That is Oprah Winfrey. That's what I'm saying. There's examples to all. There's always exceptions to the rule, but it doesn't. The exception to the rule don't make the rule. So what's happening is, yes, that would be fantastic. A woman that's alpha out there in the world and doing what she's doing, and she comes home and she's submissive at home. Oh my God, you know how we would love that. The problem is that
with another alpha.
No, alpha works with no. It doesn't. That's not how that works. I can't hear you. Did you hit mute? I lost you. Did you guys hear? I can't hear.
No, I can't.
I hit you. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. What were you saying? You said alpha works with another alpha. That's a negative.
Alpha woman works with alpha man. If she I've seen flourishing.
Alpha women are by and large single. Alpha women is alpha women is what we've created. Alpha women. Go ahead.
I'm talking about the relationships that do work. I've seen alpha and they have a healthy relationship.
Okay. All right.
I know alpha men who they don't say I don't even want an alpha woman, but I know alpha men, they tend to date or marry alpha women. I've seen that.
You're not gonna see that. I'm not saying that you haven't seen it. Again, we're not talking about instances and anomalies. I'm talking about by and large. Alpha men.
A lot of men are not high value.
I think we complicate this. Look.
No, we're talking
relationships are a very simple thing, but I think we just complicate it too much. Listen, hypergamy. I'm a hypergamist. As a Nigerian, we're raised to look for a man who can look after us and, earn and blah, blah, blah. And when I met my husband, I asked him, what are your plans? And he said, I have the potential to earn, because he knew that was a requirement. And then I gave him a chance, and then he did it. He loses his money. We're also raised that marriage is ride or die. So if halfway down the line he loses his money, I'm not running away because of the money, because there's more to life than money. So let's get that out of the way, because I do believe that men should earn more, as Shannon said, right? But all this alpha women problem, listen, I might be alpha. I drink wine. I'm talking to you right now. My guy is next door. And I did say to him, do you mind if I go and join the YouTube panel? And say, I don't mind. But if he was to walk in right now and say, Annette, that's enough.
That ain't alpha. That's not alpha.
Put off the computer.
What's not alpha?
Get to bed.
Her.
I'd be like,
she said she might be alpha.
Okay. I'll be like, okay, I'll put off the computer. You know why? Because the peace in my home is more important than anything I'm doing here.
That has nothing to do with her being alpha or not. She honestly, listening to Annette since she came on here.
No, listen, Dana. No. She's assertive, but she's not. That's not. So submission. Let me explain something. Before Annette came on this live, she went to her man and said, "Do you mind if I do this?" Because she doesn't know exactly what his plans are for the evening. His plans might be, no, baby, we getting ready to go somewhere tonight, and I need you to get dressed. But she wouldn't check to make sure everything was fine.
I want you to lie down and rub my head.
Whatever it is, I'm just using that as an example. So then, but no, hear me. Wait, y'all talk. Okay, I'm talking. So let's listen to me for a second. So then, what Annette also did, or what Annette also said, was if her man was to come in there and say, "Hey, babe, that's about enough. Let's, wrap that up," she'd be saying her goodbyes. Now, the person that we're talking about, the other alpha woman would say, oh no, I need to jump on this live and I'm not done yet. I'll be there in a moment. We alpha men don't want alpha women. They don't work, Dana. That is what most alpha men experience. That is what they experience oftentimes if he has something he wants to do, or even she's letting him know what she got to do. She's letting him know what meeting she has to make. She's letting him know when he's done, when she's done, regardless if he's hungry or not, regardless if there's food to eat, or regardless if he has he needs his back rubbed or his head rubbed because he had a long day. She needs her back rubbed and her feet rubbed because she had a long day. Alpha and alpha don't work. It never really has.
And this is okay. So this is the pushback. This is the brick wall that me and you are having, and not just me and you, me and people who think like you. Because when you hear the word alpha, you're hearing it in a negative.
No, it's called A-type personalities.
Hear me out. Because you automatically think, well, she's an alpha woman, she don't listen, she has an attitude, blah, 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 blah. What you just described, you're saying, well, if an alpha woman, if her man came in there and said, get off because we got to do this, blah, 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 she'd be like, no, because I need to do this. That has nothing to do with alpha, beta, or whatever. That has something to do with you just not listening to your man.
No, that's all about, but do you understand? No, Dana.
Dana. Looking at it totally different. I'm not. As a woman who has ambitions and she's assertive. You're looking at alpha as something negative, like she has an attitude. No, Dana. Then you need to understand what alpha, beta, sigma, gamma, and omega personalities. Ambition ambition transcends, I think, 4 of them. Ambition has nothing to do with that. I'm talking the main tenet of an A-type personality, and that's really what it is, because the alpha type and the whole thing that the guy did in 1979 with the wolves and whatnot, and then he rewrote a new book in that's a whole different conversation. The A-type personality is a leadership. That's the main tenet of an A-type personality. It's somebody who walks into a business, walks into a company, walks into an office, scans and sees what's needed, and then takes charge. And says, this is what's necessary. This is how this needs to go to make things better. That in the military, A-type personalities are usually the ones that get promoted fast, like I did. A-type personalities step into the platoon, find out which way that they're gonna win this particular battle or overcome this particular obstacle the fastest, and then they take charge and lead the troops to make sure that they obtain that objective. Hear me out. If you have a woman at home that feels that way and a man at home that feels that way, you're going to have 2 sergeants butting heads. Okay. So what you're saying is, but this is what I'm saying. I'm an alpha when it comes to my business. But when I'm with my man, when I'm with my man, he is the leader. See,
I just said that we would love that. I said that we would love that type of woman.
No, you're not, because you automatically assume if a woman is alpha in her business, she's going to be alpha in her relationship. And
that is by and large the case. Dana, you're not listening. Dana, you're listening. Dana, you're listening to argue.
Let me finish making my point. Because there are a lot of women who are not alphas.
I can see
business, and they're bitches in their relationship. See, but you are automatically assuming alpha in business for a woman, she don't listen in her relationship with her man.
No, I'm not. Nothing is automatic, but by and large, that's the case. That's the problem that we're having. Listen, I don't care what we think. Look at the numbers. Look at the outcomes. How is that working out?
There's no statistics on alpha or beta men and women.
No, there's statistics on relationships that are working and women that's out there putting their career and all that stuff more important than their relationships. There is a statistic that of women that are taking their relationships and putting it on the back burner, going out there working on their career, and then coming back to work on a relationship, and they can't seem to keep a man. They can get one. Right. They can land one, but they can't keep one. And why can't they keep one? Is because listen, you're over talking me, Dana. Dana, you're over talking me. Dana. Oh, you're over talking me. Just listen to me. You're being real alpha with me now. So what I'm saying, no, I get it, but yeah. So what's happening is these relationships And I'm sorry, these business women are transcending their personalities over into their personal relationships, and the shit ain't working out. Men don't want to hear that. And while you're sitting there saying, "Oh, with we wasn't talking about business. We were talking about personal relationships." You said, "I know alpha women in the personal side that work well with alpha." And I'm telling you, no, that's not the case.
Okay,
you may know one or two, and it's shit. You got Judge Joe Brown on your show every week that says that that's what he likes. He's not regular then. That ain't the case.
I agree with you when you said that alpha women are bringing that into their relationship. But what I'm saying is, women who are not alphas are still bringing that energy into their relationships. So you can't just automatically say that alpha women, if she's alpha, then she's going to be like this in a relationship, because women who are not alphas still give men a hard time. So
give me an example.
So me personally, when I think of alpha beta, I'm not automatically thinking of that woman, oh, she's probably uncooperative in her relationship. I'm automatically thinking, okay, she has ambitions and she's assertive. I don't know what she may be in her relationship, because the chick that's opposite of alpha, I see a lot of those, they give a lot of attitude and give their men a hard time. So again, you look at, when you see alpha or hear the word alpha women, you automatically think the worst when it comes to relationship, to whereas I don't. And I think that's the disconnect that we're having.
What up, Simon? Hit the mute button, Simon. You're on mute.
I'm alpha with you.
Yeah, don't be alpha over here. This is my house. You in my house. God damn it.
That's right, honey. I'll let you lead.
You hear me?
What up, Simon? We can hear you, boss.
Yeah.
Are you there? Simon.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's a little bit of delay on yours, but we can hear you. What you want to you have something to say? You want to interject in this conversation?
Yeah. Dana is interesting. I was just listening, and I don't know if I'm frozen right now.
No, you're not frozen. We can see you and you're moving fine, and your audio is good. Simon may be having some internet connection issues. He connected up earlier and then we lost him. Now he's back. Simon, are you there? Simon. All right, Simon is having some issues. I think and it's by the accent, I'm assuming that he's overseas, and so there may be an issue. Go ahead, Annette.
English.
Yeah, we lost him.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, absolutely, Annette.
Okay, so I was going to ask Dana. I don't understand the alpha thing. I've heard it, but Dana, can I ask you a question? So you're with this guy and you've got this great big job, and he's got a great big job because they're two alphas together, and he gets a promotion and he has to move to a different city, and he says to you, right, okay, I need you to quit your job because I'm moving to a different city. What happens?
Are we married, or we're just in a relationship? Because if we're
Do you
not
want to
married,
get married to him?
no. If we're not married, and I'm in a relationship with the man, and I have my career, he has his career, and his career is taking him to another state, then we're gonna have a long distance relationship. Because if you want to marry me, or you know what I'm saying, and again, should I say my age? But it does depend on the age, not so much on the time clock being ticking, but when you're older, you kind of tend to look at relationships a little differently, or they just work differently. But just for the sake to answer your question, cut and dry, if we're not married or we're not engaged to be married, and your job is taking you somewhere else, I'm not going to quit my job to follow after you. That's me personally.
So you wouldn't even have the conversation to have a negotiation?
Huh?
You wouldn't even have a conversation to negotiate to see, okay, it's a big ask for me to leave my job, but if I'm going to leave my job, what's in it for me? Are we going to make a commitment? Is it,
Yeah, that would be the comment. That's what I just said. What if you're not going to marry me, or what I'm saying? I would have to see what would be the incentive for me to quit my career and follow yours. Now we're just dating. We're just in a relationship.
And if you're married?
If we're married, you have to go where your husband is.
Okay.
That's just point blank period, Or there are a lot of people who are not married and they have children and they live together. They're life partners, significant others, but they're life partners. I would say the same for that. So it's not boyfriend and girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? They have a family. They just don't have papers. So, but my name is on stuff, on life insurance or whatever. We just don't have marriage papers, but we have a family. You get a job and you have to relocate. We all have to relocate as a family. Yeah. But you're just my man and you gotta go.
So you do believe that if you're committed to a man, you do believe that you have to make adjustments for him?
Somewhat, yeah. You breaking down the scenario that we just broke down, yeah. Married or you're my lifetime partner. But if we're just in a relationship, like I date now, I'm dating somebody now. Now, if he gets a job that takes him to Texas, right? But I love what I'm doing here. And if he invites me to say, hey, mind you, we're not living together right now. So if he gets a job that relocates, well, we have the means to travel and see each other and spend time. My career is flexible, so I'm not going to just dump what I'm doing and just move with him because we're just dating or we're just in a relationship.
Yeah. I think Shannon, the thing is, I think what you're saying, and I just correct me if I'm wrong. I think I agree with you. I think that before you take your head off your neck and hand it over to a man, the man has to show that he's in it fully. So I think what Dana is saying is that I'm not going to give up my job unless you make a commitment. Either get married to me to show that you're really serious. And then as soon as you're married to me, then it's all, I'm ready to just
So here's yes,
you're saying, Dave, right?
Yes, that theoretically that's exactly what's great. Here's the problem: oftentimes people get married and then so we have this thing, and I don't know if we have a term out here we call representatives. Oftentimes in American dating, there's representatives that show up and show out to be this wonderful person that's really agreeable and cooperative, and everything is, and they change their personality for their other person. And then once something usually locks them in, oftentimes in America, it's a child, a baby comes, and then suddenly, or marriage, suddenly they retire their representative and their real self shows up. And so now the real personality shows up. So while it sounds good in theory that, yeah, you know what, show me some commitment. A woman is saying, show me some commitment. Show me put some skin in the game. Show me where's the, put a ring on it. Basically, oftentimes when men put a ring on it, that representative is now gone and the real person shows up. And then Eddie Murphy said it best in a stand-up comedy back in the 80s called Raw, when he was using unfufu. And it was a comedy skit. It was one of the things. And he was saying how Eddie Murphy himself was suggesting men should go overseas and get a woman. He said, but don't bring her back up to America and let her meet no American women, because those American women is going to teach her the American ways. As long as you keep her overseas and keep her with the overseas mentality, you'll be happy. But the moment that she gets over here, she's going to be asking for half. And she's going to take you to the cleaners and go straight to divorce. Now, that was just for comedy, but that was comedy 30 years ago. What's crazy is it's actually what we're seeing today. And so when you have,
That's
women who are predominantly running to the divorce court, 70% nationwide, 80% in the black community running to divorce court. And the number one reason is irreconcilable differences, which equates to, I'm just not happy. That is the woman that is the woman who is saying to her husband that got a new job somewhere that she don't want to move, that she don't want the kids to do this, or she don't want and there's little small, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. And then and the men are not doing for the women what the women require, and the women are not having it anymore. And so they don't want that anymore. They don't want to be in the relationship anymore because they figure they can either do bad by themselves or they can just find another guy. So while the example that you presented, Dana, would you move for your man if he told you that he got a promotion at his job and he has to move to a different state? And Dana's like, well, if he's my boyfriend, no, that wouldn't make any sense. But if he put a ring on it, then yeah, I that sounds great in theory. And Dana is probably the type of woman who would actually fall through with that. But the question would be, would most women do that after they're married? And if I have to look at numbers, and I'm a statistics guy, if I have to look at numbers, then the answer is there's a lot of infighting that's going on. There's a lot of arguments, unnecessary, petty reasons that people are getting divorces. For what? Because somebody don't want to move, or somebody doesn't want to be away from their family, or their sister or their mom is nearby and that's where they're comfortable there, but maybe he wants to move somewhere else to start anew and she don't want to do that. It's a lot of those little kind of fights that's happening out here, and divorce is so easy that people are just running and saying, well, I'll just throw this relationship away and go get another one.
Can I ask you a personal question, Mr. Shannon?
One second. Let me just say this, because that question you asked me, I would love for Lauren to answer that question, because my lifestyle, because Lauren, she's in her 30s, young 30s. I thought she was in her 20s. But I have 2 grown kids and I have 4 grandkids. So my life is totally different. She hasn't experienced that yet. So my dating experience, or the way I date, is different from Lauren's agenda of dating, right? So Lauren is dating, I'm just assuming, Lauren may be dating with a certain type of purpose, to whereas my dating may not be that purpose. It may be of a different purpose, or just different, right? And that's fine.
Are you dating to marry, Dana?
Not really. If it happens, it happens, and that's the thing. Because to me, I see women want to get married because they want to get married. But I always ask myself, why will I be getting married? Why? Right? And if you ask yourself the why, it may be a list of things, and it may not be a list of things, right? So that is a question that every woman needs to ask herself. Why do you want to get married? And then the men that I'm dating, they've been married, they had their kids, so they're not in no rush to get married, but we love our time together. But this is where we're at in our life, and they're older than me. To whereas if you didn't experience children, no grandchildren, none of that, your agenda is different from someone like mine. So that question, I would like for Lauren to even answer that question, because what would you do, Lauren? Because your life is different from my life. Like
the question about moving, if it were a dating situation versus if I were married. So to answer your question,
like
it's funny.
If TLA was to ask you to move to Atlanta,
not TLA, we can use anybody else. We're cool. We're cool. It was dead, and like
I had to throw that one in there.
Forgetting about that. No, it's funny. My mom and I joked about, not joked, but we talked about it. I was expressing to her that I was interested in someone, like I was spending time with somebody or whatever, and I was like, well, it probably won't go anywhere because he's moving. And so she was like, so don't act like you won't move. And I was like, well, you're right. Like if we're getting to the point where we're talking and it's getting serious, I don't mind moving. But granted, you're right. I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids. But I do have a job, right? Like, and is it worth a conversation with my job to say, hey, can I do this particular job elsewhere? Can this be remote? If it's not, I probably would look for a different job in the field One, because that's just my personality. Number one, like life is too short to just be like, oh, okay, I'll just settle here and like take up shop. Like there's a whole world to explore. So sure, if I go somewhere and I'm not married, like if I go somewhere to be with a guy and we happen to not work out, I'll just look at it as me being able to explore a different space and place or whatever, and start a new life there. Like life is just too short. So I'll say all that to say, yeah, I will move if I'm dating, and of course I will move if I'm married to somebody.
Yo, we got Joel, the middle child, in the house. I was on the panel with him last night. What up, Joel?
Hey, how you doing? I'm working as usual. So
When do you ever stop driving that truck, man? You always in that truck.
well, when I'm sleeping.
Hard working. What up, Joel? What you got for us today, bro?
I'm liking the conversation. I myself, I'm a young man. Forgive all the background noise, but
no, you perfectly
man,
clear.
Yes, I'm under 30. Oh, that's good. I mean, this headset worked pretty good there. So I'm under 30. And what I'm realizing is we're at the people of today. We're at a fairly unique point in our life in society. You know, like this whole, like the fact that dating even exists. You know, it didn't used to be a thing. So it's like we're kind of like the first of, you know, modern times where one job is not the same as what it used to be 30, 40 years ago. Because I actually looked up around the time when there was a bunch of layoffs, and what happened was when they closed down the factories, of course, you know, they had the 3-strike clause and everything. So around the 70s and the 80s, they started hiring a bunch of the officers in the jail cell. I forgot what they're called. I'm having a brain fart, but the officers of the jail.
The correctional. Yeah.
The correctional officers.
Okay.
So I looked up their average salary back in like the 70s and 80s, and it was somewhere around like $5,000 or something like that. And that particular career today, it still earns about average, somewhere around 75 and 90, because it's one of those jobs where not too many people want to do it. So, you know, there's certain high income jobs where it's either high income because of your skill level or, you know, supply demand, that kind of thing. So that's one of those supply demand jobs where there's not a lot of people that want to do it. But the thing is, the income from the 70s and 80s, even though today they're still making around 75 to 90, it was the equivalent when you plug it into the generator for deflation. It was the equivalent of $150,000 today.
Yeah, I was gonna say 125.
So, so we know it's a big difference in income. So 2 incomes is almost mandatory. You know, it's needed. But the thing is, you said something earlier where the men should work their 20s and then look for a girl. That was actually one of my plans when I was in college. I was like, if I don't find me a girl while I'm in college, I was like, I'm just going to hold my head down, work as hard as I can, and I'm going to try again in my 30s. That was literally my plan. But the thing was, the reason why I had to do that was because I already knew at 17 going to college, I knew just from my personal experience with dating women, because I wanted a black woman. I wanted a black woman as my wife. I knew from personal experience that I would have to date quite a bit just because I knew the type of woman I wanted was rare. You know, I didn't want the attitude. I didn't want all this extra, you know, what they show in the media. But unfortunately, you know, a lot of the black women I dealt with, they still had something in, you know, some part of them that was still that, let me go get my career, let me go get my degree, let me do my own thing kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I understood that at a young age. However, I do say this, and I said this in the Discord channel I am in right now. Shout out to MTR. So I've been talking to his community, and I'm actually one of the few pro-marriage people in his community, right? And I'll go ahead and say, I say it all the time. I got lucky when I was young because I met my wife when I was like 18. When I turned 18, I was lucky enough to have met her at that young age. You know, of course, you know, our relationship wasn't perfect, but eventually I did see there was a show Anton was talking about on Lapeef, and he was saying that when a certain type of woman, when they get around a certain type of masculine energy, they naturally become, submissive and feminine. And I will say that to a certain extent that is true, because I did notice, even though my girl, she was more feminine than most, I definitely noticed she definitely changed a lot more as she got to know me, and she pretty much chose me. I chose her, and she chose me as well as our mates. But when you say something like
Joel, real quick, how can you say that if she already had a natural feminine tendency to her? See, the question, I would listen to that more if you told me that your wife was a masculine person and when she got around you, she softened up. So is it that did she just become more feminine, or did she just become more what she already naturally was? Or did she do a complete, did this leopard change its spots and become something different? That speaks on that conditional femininity thing. Go ahead.
No, but I know what you're talking about, like the fake femininity. No, I know it was natural because she became more of what she was. Because naturally, when I met her and everything, she was soft and natured and everything else. But, of course, with her friends and everything she was around, which I asked her to cut some of them off, which, today, of course, she did. But she still had those people speaking in her ear like, oh, don't trust them and yada, yada, yada. And one of the things I said to her up until probably 2-3 years ago that I had to consistently say to her, because I noticed when she would get in that mood where it's like, okay, she wants to trust me, but she's being taught not to trust me. And I literally have to sit her down and say, I'm not your enemy. And I've said this to her many times, because for some reason, the world is telling her I'm her enemy. I want to control her. I want to do this, do that. You know what I'm saying? So when I was like, it's okay. I'm not your enemy. I only want the best for both of us. And then she naturally started getting back into her feminine role.
Got it. Yeah, competition is a real thing in relationships these days. And again, that's where we're out of, when we talk about the order of things, and I believe that we're out of order. See, competition, it should be more compliment than competition. It shouldn't be a situation where you're doing something that I'm doing and I'm doing something that you're doing naturally. But when you're a decision maker, and I'm talking at home, I'm not talking about at the office. I get it. We cannot buy the same house that we grew up in as easy as our parents bought it. It's just the way it is. There's inflation. Inflation has gone up. Automobiles, a Corvette brand new off the lot was $2,000. Equivalent today would still only be $15,000. Corvettes don't cost $15,000 today. They're $80,000 starting. So the point is, we can't do the same things that we were able to do that our parents did. Granted. However, when you have people in the house making the same, and I'm not talking about at work, I'm talking about the A-type person, that when you have a man that wants to be assertive and make decisions as the head of the household, let's use tax terms, right? Head of the household, right? And then you have a woman who is at home and wants to be head of the household. She knows what she wants to do, and what she wants to do is the best way. Now I believe that every man would be a fool. Men would be a fool if they didn't take the counsel of their wife. In fact, I believe that men can multiply their wealth and can do much better. I'm pro marriage. I've been married twice. I gave it a shot 2 times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and I believe that we need to get together. I'm not out there selling men, hey man, marriage ain't it, bro. Don't do it. I did it 2 times. It's a waste of time. It's not gonna work out, bro. Just be out there single smash. No, I'm not selling that. I don't want to sell. I don't want to come off like that. I believe that relationships and the nuclear family is important for our community, because I'm starting to become more community, and I think I'm looking at the sad state of disregard in the black community that we could be in, especially here in LA. And I'm like, man, we need to get together. However, where do we start? How can we get together if we are so broken in our communication? So if you got a situation where there's a woman and a man, and the woman is been conditioned, as Joel, the middle child, said, conditioned to say that he is the enemy. Basically, he is the competition. He is going to go against her. And some women aren't as feminine, and won't listen to their man the way Joel's wife did. Oftentimes, women are just going to listen to their aunties and their mamas and the golden girls and the sisterhood that tells them what they're telling them, and they take that shit as gospel. And then now they're fighting at home, and so she's this A-type personality, he's this A-type personality. She has a vision for the family, he has a vision for the family, she has a direction that she wants to take things, and he has a direction that he wants to take things. That's just not gonna last. That's not gonna last. Now, what we would like is a woman that's all that at work. Do all of that shit at the office. Do all of that with your understudies. Do all of that with the people that work up under you. Do that in your cubicle on the 14th floor downtown in your office building. Leave that shit there when you're on your way home. But women don't leave that there oftentimes. Women are taking that shit and bringing it home, and then men don't even want to go home now. When they get off work, they want to go straight to happy hour. They want to sit in the car for 3 hours. And when they get in the house, they go straight to the man cave. They don't want to deal with nothing. And so that's a problem. So if you have an A-type personality and a B-type personality, those are complement, especially if only when the man is the A-type personality and the woman is the B-type personality. That is yin and yang. She's doing what she naturally wants to do, and he's doing what he naturally wants to do. And that's just what I believe.
I think the more I'm interacting with you and Lauren and Dana and Joel, a few light bulb moments are dropping into my head, because sometimes we just take things like that's how it is because we don't know other people's reality, right? But the more I'm thinking about it now, I think the way you're raised has got a lot to do with it, because
has everything to do with it.
Yeah, my unique situation, and in a way, I think because of that, I don't know what the answer is, but I'll just say my unique situation is I'm an only girl. I have 6 brothers, right? You have brothers, right, Lauren? I have 6 brothers. I'm number 4 out of 7. So, no, I'm number 5 out of 7. So I had 4 men who were already in the house before I came along. And then I had 2 men after me.
Wonderful.
So I grew up in an environment where the men were just like, "Whoa," and I was like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? So I was raised like the guys were just like all over the place, and I kind of had to like ask for what I needed, and they had to protect me and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, even in the workplace, I'm probably a wimp, right? You know what I mean? Because probably, because even in the workplace, I've never been the kind of person that really wants to like be the CEO or anything. I've always been like, you want to be the CEO? Okay, I'll just sit here. You just tell me what to do, kind of thing. So I think it's the brainwashing of how I was raised. So I think for some women, they're just raised in an environment where they had brothers and the men, it was a very masculine environment. And so when you look at other men, you kind of see like your brothers. And so you've been trained and brainwashed to see the men doing everything and asking you what you need. And then on top of that, our parents trained us that the woman is supposed to be the wife. Like, you know, if you raise your voice, your mother will say to you, you better lower your voice. Are you going to speak to your husband like that when you get married? You know, you better come and cook in the kitchen because you need to be able to cook for your husband when you're married. So you're kind of totally brainwashed.
Is that the things that you heard? You grew up with your mother and father, Annette?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
are those the kind of things that you heard?
Those were the kind of things that are drummed into us every day. Don't speak like this because your husband's not going to like it. You've got to cook because your husband. Basically.
So here's the thing, let's talk again. I'm all about the outcomes, right? So if those are the kind of things that you've heard growing up in that, especially being the fact that you had brothers older than you, brothers younger than you, dad was there and mom was there, and mom was saying those kind of things. How did it turn out for you? You had a successful 22, you were married for over 2 decades, married at 21, and it worked out for you. And that's because, and many would argue, well, I'm going to say, many would argue that you were probably taught how to be a wife. You were probably shown how to be a wife. Your mother probably gave you an example. Is your parents, how long were your parents together?
Until my father died. They never divorced.
Okay. So you were probably shown how to be a wife, and when you became one, it lasts for 20 years. I get it that you guys got a divorce for some other reasons, and I understand that. And now you're in a new relationship. Now you're in a...
If I was to say to him today, let's get back married, he'll be like, okay. It's just that we didn't want to live in the same country after a while.
I got it. That's what I'm saying. There's some technical reasons that had, because he went back to Nigeria. I got it. And now you're in another successful relationship, if you want to call it that, because you're 5 years in with a millionaire. So my thing is, here in America, are men taught how to be husbands and are girls taught how to be wives? By and large, no. It's not happening over here in America. It's a lot of single parent households. It's a lot of boys that are not being shown how to lead. Men don't know. The reality is, like a lot of my advice is for men. I talk to young men on how to become better. I talk to young men on how to become better older men. Because I realize that a lot of young men were abandoned by their dads and they don't know what the fuck they're doing out here. They have no idea. And so while I'm harsh on women on how they should be, my counsel goes to men, because men don't know how to be men, and they certainly don't know how to be husbands. And my advice comes from the fact of my failures. Let me show you what not to do, because I went down that road and it didn't work out for me, bro. You don't want to do this. So it's good that I was married and divorced and I'm still cool with my exes, because I can say, bro, let me tell you what I did that didn't work for my marriage. And if I could have done it again, and if I do it again in my future, if I'm blessed with another beautiful woman, I'll make sure I don't make this fucking mistake again. So that's the kind of counsel I give young men. Men are not taught how to be husbands. At the same time, women over here aren't really taught how to be wives. And so now everybody's on this independent thing. People don't even sit down and eat dinner at the same table no more. Everybody's ordering fucking Postmates or Uber Eats. They get home and everybody separates to their own room to wolf down their dinner that night while they're watching Netflix. The families are not nuclear, and the people aren't in that. They're not having that kind of stuff anymore. Whereas when you were growing up, you heard things from your mother that was kind of ingrained, that allowed you to have a 20+ year marriage. That's why we're in the repair stage. So
because my mother calls me every day. My brothers call me every day. You don't make a move without. I don't make a move without speaking to my brothers, and vice versa. So I think there's a big cultural difference.
Yeah,
we're good point.
Yeah. We are in a situation. We're in a situation now that we're hoping that we can teach the young ones on what's best to do, because the frontal lobe's not developed. They still have some time to learn. And we're trying to teach the young men and women on how to become better older men and women. And we're trying to salvage the older ones like me, 49-year-old brothers like me who's single. We're trying to salvage the older women. We're trying to salvage the ones that are willing to listen. The problem is most older people ain't willing to listen. So we're having these kind of conversations on YouTube. We're having these conversations in private groups on Facebook and whatnot. We're having these conversations on Clubhouse, that we're trying to salvage those that's willing to listen, because they want better outcomes, because currently the outcomes look like shit. TJ, Joel, do you have children?
Yes, I have a daughter.
You have a daughter? How old is she?
About to be 3.
About to be 20?
3.
Oh, 3. 3. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. The reason I was asking you that is because you married your wife young, and you're still in your 20s, but you married her at you guys.
Yeah, I met her when I was young. We're actually about to get married this week. We're finalizing.
Oh, well, congratulations, boss. Congratulations. Another black family. I love to see it. Have you guys discussed all the important things and discuss? And are you on the same sheet of music in terms of what you expect of your family and what you expect to teach your daughter as she grows older?
Yes, I think the biggest thing I'm struggling with is, and I have conversations with my wife all the time where, okay, we're going to have to try to raise her a certain way. And we're even going so much as planning when she goes to college, if she wants to go to college, what career path she's going to be choosing. I'm thinking of a career path where she can complement whomever her husband is, you know, like accounting or finance or something like that, where she can also work from home. But from day one, I knew I wasn't too far off, because even when I first met my wife, I told her from day one, hey, you know, I'm this kind of man. Like, I don't say I love you, I just show you by my actions. Like I said this from day one with her. Even before we're going through the marriage process, I let her know up front, hey, if I make this amount of income, are you okay working from home? Because she has a job too. And she's like, yes, I'm okay with that. So, you know, I got the answers up front that were very important. Even the answer about, you know, because apparently some women, their libido goes down. And I was like, hey, if certain tasks aren't fulfilled, I'm going to go get them fulfilled. And she's like, okay, I agree with that. Just don't tell me about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I had all these discussions with my wife up front, which is why there's not going to be any scary skeletons in the closet or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was up front about it and everything. And I believe, you know, from my perspective, that's the most important thing is, you know, don't stop going around here assuming stuff, you know, just be straight up front about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is the type of marriage you want, you know, don't assume she's gonna do this, or don't assume he's gonna do this or that. You know, talk about it.
Dope. You know, I appreciate you ladies and gentlemen for joining the live. We've been live for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Who would have thought that after 2 months, my first live back, I'd be 3 hours and the discussion would be so great. Dana has had me on her panel, on her channel twice. I'm going to bogart my way on the Lauren's panel. And Annette, I'm going to track you. I'm going to follow you. And hopefully you'll be doing some lives. I'm going to jump on yours. I appreciate all you guys. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to go live on my channel in like a couple hours because we need to unpack some stuff that happened here. So if you haven't already, shameless plug. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do that. So, and then click the notification bell so you know when I go live. But I'm going to, you know, drink some wine, get some coffee, whatever. Do what you got to do so that y'all can tune in so we can have more conversations around this because,
they were asking for a part 2. I'm not doing a part 2, you guys. So the part 2 is over at Lauren's page right after. You guys want to get into it heavy, and she's gonna be able to bring up 10. She's gonna be able to bring everybody up if you guys want to come up. She's gonna open up the page.
And Shannon, we got to get you on our show. Lucky and I are gonna have a show in a couple weeks. So since you're single, you got to come on our show.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And Dana just supported the channel. Thank you, Dana. You know I love you.
I love you, Joe. I love you too. Sexy.
With your spicy self.
Over here. It's midnight over here, Lauren. So I won't be able to join you.
I would love to have you, but I'll connect with you because I would love to, you know, chop it up with you. I love your perspective.
It's nice to see you. Chase your man. He likes you.
Thank you for having me, Shannon, because I don't talk about relationships on my channel.
No, you about business. You be about the business. I'm going to bring you over here to open up.
Politics and history and everything, because I don't have the patience to talk about relationships, because I just like, listen, you at a certain point, if you don't know how to get a man, because that's the easiest thing to do, you need to go to a therapist and sit on somebody's couch, and vice versa for the men. So, but I love to come on people platforms where it's mature and it's a good conversation, a good discussion, you know.
Appreciate you guys. You know, today, go ahead.
I was just telling Dana to come over to mine.
Listen,
I just subscribe to your channel too.
High value, high quality. There's a difference, everybody. So when you hear people talk about high value, don't cringe. Don't redefine it. Don't make up something that makes you feel better. It's not about your feelings. There's high value and high quality. Lauren, Dana, Annette contend to say that they prefer quality over that quote unquote list of high value stuff. Quality in the person is what's more important. But they also realize that they're separate. Yes, you did.
Didn't I
Quality.
just say I need you to pay the dental bill before you hold my hand? Or make me do like no. And because I don't want to, I'm not trying to sound superficial, but it's just like
I thought because you was the first one that spoke. I thought I had to ask you. I said, do you know the difference? And when we first talked, I mean, I'm gonna go back and look at it.
But it's the difference. No, I don't want to date an asshole. But you know what I'm saying? It's
as long as he an asshole paying bills, he's okay.
It's I weigh the asshole scale if you're paying the bills, but I just prefer to date someone who's not an asshole. But women could be assholes, but men have asshole tendencies. But if that's just part of your character, then I probably would pass. But yeah, like I'm with that.
All right. Let me modify my statement. Dana's not part of the quality over value. They didn't want to make sure you got the bag, fellas. Make sure you got the bag. In case you could work at Target as an assistant manager as long as you own some property. That's how Dana feels. As long as you got your money right.
If I date you in a certain income bracket, right? I look at the portfolio. I need to see the financial portfolio.
Got it. Joel, hey man, thanks for camming up with me, man. You know, it makes it really easy for me to do these shows when people cam up. I'll be running through my head. I jot down a few talking points on my iPad, and then I just go off the dome, and then it becomes really smooth sailing when people cam up. So I'm going live daily. I'll be live again tomorrow, and it'll be every day, Monday through Friday, not the weekends, that I'm going to go live. So if you guys are watching the show right now, please cam up with me and come on and let's have the discussions of the things that we're talking about. It makes it really easy for me.
Hit the bell button so that you get all your notifications when you do go live.
Do that. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button and everything that she just said. I'm kind of new to the YouTube streets. I'm well seasoned at Facebook and Instagram, but over here in YouTube, I'm kind of new. So
what time you going live?
This is
it
for all
at
the
the same
people.
time every day or random?
I don't
All
know.
the people trying to make an excuse. If I can do this in a truck, there ain't no excuse for y'all. Y'all can cam up anytime.
That's
All
right.
the people.
Tell him, Joel. He made it happen, and he's working. He's getting paid to be on here. That's what's up. And am I going to do it at the same time? I know that is best, and I may end up doing that once I get into the groove of things. Right now, it's going to be kind of like, it won't be in the evening. It'll be in the mornings or the afternoon. But then probably after a week or two, it's going to be the same time, same bat channel on a daily basis. I would prefer to do that because I still got a business to run. And I gotta get downtown, and I got customers to take care of and whatnot. And so I have a little freedom.
Simon said I'm average at best. Thank you, Simon. But my man is not average, so that's what's important. I'll be average.
We're all average. There's nothing wrong with average.
Not average. That's what's important.
Average is average. I'm average. Ain't we all average? Well, I'm not average, but I get your point. So,
but Lauren is not average.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. We're going to end the broadcast. I appreciate you guys for coming on the live. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Talk to you guys. No, that's where we're going. I'm sorry. I'm hitting buttons. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate you. High value man versus versus high quality man. It's a difference. I subscribe to the Kevin Samuels layout of what a high value man is. I subscribe to that. I have no problem with that. High quality is up to you. Quality is defined by the individual. What you consider quality in a person is how high or low you'll put it on your scale. High value is determined by the marketplace. A 1964 Chevy Impala is not defined by you. The price of that car is not defined by you. You don't get to pick how much you'd like to pay for that car. That car is determined by the marketplace. The value of a 1972 Corvette Stingray, which is a car that I'm out actively looking for, a 1972 Corvette Stingray convertible. I'll take a Target top, but a convertible preferably. I don't get to pick how much value that car is. It's already defined by the marketplace. I just got to come with the money to pay for it. Same thing with a high value man. You don't get to determine what a high value man is. It's already been determined. But you do get to determine what the qualities of a person it is. You do get to determine how the qualities that are important to you so you can define a high quality man, ladies. Appreciate you guys. We're going to go to the outro and then I'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.
Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver. Pa' que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer.
Make sure you guys go over to Lauren's page. Go over to Lauren's, and Gail is here. You know I love me some Gail Lockett. I don't know why I'm so in love with Gail Lockett, but I am. Thank you, Gail, for showing up and helping me out. Lucky, I'm gonna hit you on the DMs. Lauren, I'm gonna hit you on the DMs. I wonder when you guys are gonna have your shows. You said 2 weeks. You know I'm gonna be there. I'm coming over to Lauren's show tonight, though. Everybody, make sure you guys go to Lauren's show. Tap in. Hey, hey.
Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver. Pa' que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo aparezca en mí, que yo aparezca en mí. No tiene sueños, solamente en sus sueños. Nos ponemos risueños con un norteño y mi flow brasileño. Yo te juro que es bueno, ya me doy el palo. Es empate si lo desigualo. Le gusta lo honesto y lo malo. Me traje un regalo. Ella ya no quiere relación. Alguien que diga su condición.
Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I gotta get used to saying that. I'm not used to shouting myself out and promoting myself. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. You know, I just broke 2,000 today, this morning. I had like 1999 last night. Today I've made it over 2,000 subscriptions. My goal is 5,000. My next goal is 5,000. You know, I need to put a date on that. My next goal is 5,000. It's ambitious. Let's do an ambitious goal. I need 5,000 subscribers by November 1st. Can you help your boy out? Can you help me out? Appreciate you. Share the broadcast. Only high quality shit over here, y'all. Only high quality and high value content. You got 20 seconds to say something in the chat. It's going to be permanently burned into this broadcast. Uh-oh. Value is what the market is willing to pay. That's right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate you.